that finished the home and away, squeaking by goal difference into the finals. Cote Rojas looking a little different today with the reddish rinse through the hair, but the boots are what does the talking. And with 5 goals this season from 10 games, don't be fooled, that strike rate has also been able to free up a number of her teammates. There's been assists, there's just been havoc in the penalty area. And trying to diffuse all of that at the other end is Casey Dumont, the only goalkeeper to have won 2 penalty shootouts in the history of the W League and Liberty A League. We've only ever gone to penalties 6 times. Casey Dumont has been on the winning side on 2 of those occasions, both times with the Brisbane Roar. Dario Vidic, after losing at Amy Park to Melbourne Victory earlier in the season, now has the head-to-head squared away at 8 wins apiece between these 2 clubs. Just the 1 draw ever played, but as I mentioned, it was earlier this season. Shaking hands with his counterpart, Jeff Hopkins here.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, would be nice. Good luck this week after. Good luck.
Not sure how much I picked up from eavesdropping there, but Jeff Hopkins and Dario Vidic keeping it diplomatic pre-kickoff. Let's see if tensions simmer. The 2 technical areas are some way apart. Lara Lee is today's referee. Of course, it's finals for the referee too, and they are under that increased level of scrutiny. Assistants will be Lauren Hargrave in her 50th A-League Women's game. Maddie Allum and Isabella Blais is the 4th official. And former Matilda and W League winner Teresa Polias joins me in commentary for this one. Teresa, are you getting excited and nervous, bringing back memories of your own career? Days like today where there is no tomorrow for the beaten team.
Thanks, Teo. The adrenaline's still pumping for me. What a game we have on our hands today. A Melbourne Derby semi-final. Doesn't get too much better than this. I can't wait.
Melbourne Victory on a little bit of an unbeaten run against City now. Last year's preliminary final, then they drew here earlier in the season and they beat them 2-0 at Amy Park. So do you think that gives us a clear favourite and a clear underdog for this one, or do you throw the form line out the window when you put extra time and penalties on the table as well?
Look, in terms of a mental edge, I think Victory have the upper hand given recent results, but look, we're in a finals, everything does go out the window, so we'll see how it pans out today.
So Casey Fields set to go, and the Liberty A-League elimination final between Melbourne City and Melbourne Victory is underway, with the nominal away team Victory attacking the left of your screens in this first half, and Beatty Goad taking early possession, but then losing out to Cote Rojas. And Teresa, I'm going to drop the big stat of the day on you straight off the top. Teams that concede first in finals have only ever emerged on the winning team in 6 games out of 43. So the importance of scoring first, it's important in any game, but it really is heightened at finals time as we see Caitlin Torpey run into Claudia Bunge's challenge here.
Huge stat, Teo, and the percentage was at 14%, so that is very telling, and we'll see who scores first in today's fixture. That'll definitely make that stat very, very interesting.
As we see a shout for a handball here, and it's reminiscent of Amy Park, where Emma Checker, arguing it came off her face, but she gave away a penalty last time these 2 teams met for a handball, and it must be a feeling of deja vu.
Definitely. Here we go. The ball did bounce, take a little deflection off Zimmerman's foot there, and the hand was against her body. Bit of a tough one there, and a very dangerous position for Victory.
Not least because Alana Murphy scored from a free kick last time Victory played from this sort of range against the Wellington Phoenix. Now, Melissa Barbieri, the City goalkeeper, will have done her homework on Alana Murphy here, but Murphy must step up, totally confident given that she's got the super boot.
She'll be loving this position here, Murphy. She's a technician, and there'll be definitely a few City fans biting their nails at the moment.
Just 17 years old, but already playing game number 30. There is Alana Murphy. Grew up not too far from Casey Fields. The rain has started, but she's a Langwarrin girl, Alana Murphy. This will be just about home turf for her. 5 in the wall. Melissa Barbieri waits in goal. A big early moment. Murphy puts the free kick around the wall, but Barbieri tips it past the post. And we have our first shot on target.
She did do her homework, Barbieri. That's a great save off a nifty little free kick here around the wall. Keeps it low. awkward bounce, and Barbieri dealt with that very well.
And this camera angle here shows the ground that Barbieri had to cover.
Definitely, it was heading straight into goal then. Great save.
And Murphy immediately will take the corner kick. Lots of movement in the box, but that's a shallow corner. Policina deflects it straight back out for a second corner. And an apology to the teammates there that the ball was knocked straight back out for another corner kick. But you can see Victory attackers, they love to dart around. Melbourne City have got to have eyes in the back of their heads here. And right on kickoff, the rain started, Teresa, and the wind picked up. So it got that little bit more challenging. Just as the whistle went, the players wouldn't have warmed up in these conditions. Ayres goes to ground, tries to spring back up. Tiff Eliadis recycles the ball. And now the shot from Beatty Goad is blocked immediately by Rojas. Bowen misses the clearance, but McNamara is able to get a boot on the ball. And now Policina ironed out by Kayla Morrison. And the Melbourne City bench were up in arms, but no foul was forthcoming. Nat Tatham, a high bending ball over to Catherine Zimmerman. Wearing the long sleeves today. We saw a lot of jackets and hoodies in the crowd, reflecting the chilly conditions for this one. And Victory calmed things down.
Yeah, pretty chaotic start, especially for City here. They're finding it pretty hard to get the ball under control, especially clearing it out of their box.
Morrison with the floating long ball. Julia Grosso, another of the American connections, heads the ball away initially, but is dispossessed, and now that's knocked down the line. Well, they've stood their ground at a couple of set pieces, albeit not in the most convincing fashion.
No, not convincingly, but here we see the challenge on Policina, which was a heavy challenge there, and unlucky not to get the free kick, I think.
Of course, Lara Lee was the referee for the very controversial Nat Tobin red card when Sydney FC beat Western United about 4 or 5 weeks ago. It's the second red card of the season for the Sydney FC skipper as well. They play tomorrow, those two teams, in another rematch. Right now, though, it's all about this contest here. Not even 5 minutes in, and we've already had a heap of action. Amy Jackson shuffling the ball up to Beatty Goad. Skips around Daniela Galich. You can hear just the fraught shouts of Melissa Barbieri in goal, trying to organise her defence. As Jessica Nash, the right back, roams down the flank. Tries to send in a cross, and Grosso gets a block on the ball. Now McNamara combining with Galich. Through comes Kayla Morrison. And you love to, as a former captain yourself, Teresa, you probably loved that Kayla Morrison was willing to set a physical tone there with that challenge on Policina.
Yeah, definitely. In a finals game, those types of 1%ers really count, and you need your leaders to step up, and you need someone putting in those tough challenges early and setting the tone. And Victory have set the tone so far.
Katie Bowen with a pass to the aforementioned Policina. Caitlin Torpey now. Letitia McKenna. Policina sliding the ball to Torpey. A deflected pass. Morrison keeps the ball away from Rojas. Now directing traffic, but wants to go back to Casey Dumont. You see a very lush pitch at Casey Fields, normally an AFL ground. And was watered extensively pre-game, Teresa. We were making our observations that on a cold day, it means that that water's not going to evaporate, and it's probably going to stay a little bit slipperier and wetter for a bit longer than normal that you would come to expect in a summer competition like this one.
Yeah, we did see the sprinklers on pre-game, and that's based on the home team decides that. So with a thick, lush pitch like this, they obviously want it nice and slick for the game. It's not necessarily working for them at the moment, but we'll see how it goes throughout the rest of the game.
Of course, when they met here earlier in the season, it was Alex Chidiac who scored the only goal, since departed back to her American National Women's Soccer League team. And the goal came about due to Melbourne City coughing up possession in their defensive third, something that has afflicted them at times, both last and this season. Ball security is going to be so important for them today. As we see Goad losing out to Policina, hits the early ball, an aggressive pass. And no attack is able to break onto it. Grosso takes the throw. Back to Emma Checker. Melina Ayres is lurking. Scored in the preliminary final, which was a 3-1 win for Melbourne Victory at Amy Park last season between the two teams. Of course, these sides now meet a week earlier in the finals. Tatham's throw. Owen keeping the ball away from Murphy. Tatham again. Down to Naomi Chinema. Missed quite a chunk of the season with a hamstring injury, but has been back for a solid month of games since overcoming that concern. Only 18 years old, Chinema, so the last thing you want is repeated injuries to the hamstrings and the soft tissue early in the career. Now Policina. Quick to take a throw, which Morrison half volleys away. McKenna. Pass back to Caitlin Torpey. Now Policina. Spins into a 1-on-2, hugging the line. Torpey's there, but Beattie Goad guarding her closely.
City in these opening minutes are just struggling to get a hold on the ball. A team like City, it's uncharacteristic of them, which might indicate there's a few nerves out there at the moment.
Barbieri to Chinema, and these are potentially the nerves we discussed. City playing it out from the back, but Policina presented. Victory take over though. Ayres. Caught from the blind side by McKenna with a good challenge. And now Galich out in front of Grosso. Grosso turns inside. Galich wasn't expecting the pass. And so Eliadis and Jackson combine. Victory looking to move. Murphy. Now a long ball from Claudia Bunge. Bouncing down the line to Zimmerman, who's been quiet so far, but wins a corner off checker here, and a nice little freebie, and Victory get another set piece.
Yeah, another good attacking play there from Victory, but definitely the game seems like a traditional finals scrap at the moment, and I'd say Victory have the upper hand. They've already had 2 corners and a free kick in a dangerous area.
You might remember earlier, Alana Murphy was surprised that she was taking both corners. That's because Beattie Goad has taken over as the left-footed option here for the in-swinger. Towering header coming through from Katie Bowen. Here is Murphy, the previous corner taker, to Amy Jackson. Jackson with a forcefully hit pass. Torpey. Now McNamara heading down to her own advantage. Breaking into spaces where McNamara can be dangerous, so Jackson said, "We'll give you none." However, the ball falls kindly. Bowen. Now Torpey. Back to McKenna. To Galich, and McKenna following up. Nice interplay between the two midfielders, but the pass out to Rojas doesn't quite come off. And Letitia McKenna has been put into a really important position in this City team ever since the injury to Leah Davidson that ruled her out for the rest of the campaign.
She has. She's had a fantastic season. She's featured in all 18 games. For a youngster, you know, at her age to be getting that much experience, it's been really, really good for her game. And today is no different. She'll step up like she has in all the other 18 games.
McKenna here on the ball. 68 games experience at just 20 years of age, McKenna. Looking to move here through Zimmerman, a bending right-footed cross. Ayres trying to worry Checker out of possession and is able to win the ball. A back heel to Zimmerman. Now Eliadis was shut down immediately by Galich. But again, those City nerves. Possession's 50-50, but it's playing it out from the back that's the risk. And Rojas, well, I'd be intrigued as to whether or not she was offside had she run the ball down there, but that pass a little too firmly struck.
She was definitely far and away. We're not sure if the flag went up had she have touched the ball, but yeah, definitely needed a bit more lob on that from Galich.
Goad to Tatham. Now Victory's turn for an aggressive pass through the left channel. Eliadis spoke to Keep Up this week about her journey in the Melbourne Victory team. It's hard to believe that, again, she's only 27. When you debut at 16, you can have a long career like Tiff Eliadis, including stints very much out of the A-League Women's, and still have a lot of time on your side. And here is the number 2, Eliadis, challenging here as the ball is cleared out.
Yeah, Eliada, she's been a crucial player in the victory squad this season. Another player who's featured in all 18 games as well, and she comes in, she can slot into any position, and she does the job.
It's that versatility which Jeff Hopkins and the Victory are looking to utilise today. Beatty Goad, more traditional left-sided attacking player, dispossessed here. McNamara, and now McKenna. Happy to slow things down. You spoke about this already, Teresa, just the organisation of Melbourne City trying to get their passing game going. It's not on song today so far as Checker finds Grosso with a little bit of room to manoeuvre. And now Bowen hitting up Policina. This is better from City, albeit a little bit ponderous and a little bit slow.
A little bit slow at the moment, and yeah, they've got to be careful and they've got to get it together soon. We've already passed that 10-minute mark, which is normally when you settle into a game. So if they're not careful and they're dispossessing the wrong area, Victory will punish them.
Here's Grosso getting forward for the tap-in for McNamara. Great save from Dumont. That's a point-blank save. And the first time we've seen Julia Grosso get down the left, put it into a great position, but McNamara was foiled.
She was foiled, and that went really against the run of play here. That's a really good cross from Grosso, a cross goal, and what a save from Casey Dumont. She kept herself big, and great block from Casey there. Fantastic.
How much of this is the keeper? How much of that's the finish?
Oh, a bit of both, but you've got to give props to the goalkeeper there. She made herself big and was able to keep crucial shot out like that.
Oh, it's Casey Dumont in finals. I think you're right. You've got to give credit to the keeper. Here's the resulting corner. City's first of the game, and it's headed away. McKenna does fancy a long shot, but decides to, well, try to find the corner, take it Policina. They can't link up. I think Victory quite right to ask for offside against Julia Grosso through the left channel there, but once she was through, that's a real indicator of when she picks her moment to go forward and create the overload. Victory have got to be really careful.
Absolutely, and hopefully City, have woken up now. They've come up with a really golden chance there, and it's sometimes situations like this that can spark you to wake up in a game and start playing your style. So let's see if this wakes City up now.
Best chance of the game so far, you'd have to say even better than the Murphy free kick, which Barbieri saved at the other end. A story of the goalkeepers perhaps unfolding, as both have made great saves. And joining us on the sideline to check in is Neve Owens. Neve, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Teo. It is cool and squally and rainy here at Casey Fields, and you can really feel the temperature rising in a footballing sense. Melbourne Victory have brought it, haven't they? They have started with a whole heap of aggression. Tiff Eliades, Kayla Morrison, but against the run of play, City on the attack again.
And this time the offside flag is up. So, Neve, back down to you.
Teo, we were speaking to Kayla Morrison before the kickoff here this afternoon, and she talked us through this interesting ritual that the Victory girls have made a part of their pre-game routine. They walked out onto the pitch in their bare feet. They had a little word with the grass, and they talked to Casey Fields about being kind to them, and they'd be kind to Casey Fields. And Kayla said it started as a little bit of a joke between the team, but it's actually become a really special part of their pre-game routine. And from a Victory perspective, they looked relaxed, they looked chill, and they said they feel the pressure is off compared to the last couple of rounds of the regular season. This is finals football time, and they were well up for it.
Thank you, Neve. And whatever Melbourne Victory bought, Neve's bought a thesaurus. Squally, Teresa. What a description of the weather. We'll keep checking in with Neve throughout the course of the afternoon. What do you make of that pre-game ritual from the Victory? Kayla Morrison saying the whole team walked barefoot on the pitch.
Certainly different. I've never heard of that one, but I like the idea of grounding themselves and connecting with the earth, so to speak. It's working for them at the moment, isn't it?
So far, so good, of course. No one's gone slip-sliding in their boots just yet. So both teams, we mentioned that they would have warmed up on the pitch before the sprinklers had their last go, and then, of course, the rain did blow in more or less from kickoff. So that might have, for some players, have meant the warm-up didn't count for a great deal, at least understanding the conditions. But so far, both teams look pretty sure-footed, as is Eliades right here. Looking to lift across in. It catches a bit of the wind and bends away. Through comes Rihanna Policina. Torpy. A really aggressive pass there to Gallant, who tried to flick it on but couldn't make it work. Oh, and Amy Jackson's left a boot in here. And Holly McNamara is quick to say to the referee, hey, look where the foot was planted on my thigh. But Teresa, it looks like it's just going to be a talking to and no booking.
Yeah, talking to there. We all know Amy Jackson. She's not the type of player that, does harm someone else on purpose. She was genuinely going for the ball there. And yeah, her boots just caught Holly McNamara on the way down.
Regardless of intent, should that be a yellow card?
I don't think in that instance. I think it's a good call from the ref.
So the referee's decision is final, and play continues at the feet of Melbourne City. You can just tell from the flags on the outer side and some of the players with long hair that the wind is really picking up. We didn't see this in the pre-game warm-ups or even in the first handful of minutes, but Casey Fields has a reputation for being quite a windy venue. Melbourne City, if they've chosen it as their home ground, Teresa, you would assume it will cause them fewer concerns.
You would assume that, but today we're seeing Victory much more comfortable at the moment in this game. They're looking like the home team.
Here's McKenna. Look at that, off the boot, the ball whipping in the wind. And now Checker. And just for the benefit of people that don't play or young players that are less experienced in all the different conditions football can throw at you, what does wind do generally to a game, Teresa? Look,
wind for me was my least favourite element to play in, particularly really strong winds like this. And, it certainly can result in miscuing the ball and crosses, and you really have to take everything into account when wind is involved here. So even, one half to another can change the way your team plays. So we'll see how it pans out today. And within a game, the wind can change direction as well. So very, very difficult conditions today for both teams.
Jessica Nash just having to do up the bootlace here after the foul by Rojas. Claudia Bunge, the New Zealand international, will be heading for the World Cup. You'd think as a first choice centre-back for the New Zealand national team. Takes the restart here. Look at her on by Zimmerman. Beatty Goad used the body really well to outmaneuver Torpy. And Goad only had airs to aim for of the Victory attackers and couldn't quite pinpoint the pass. Galich. Alana Murphy backtracking is able to win the ball. Now Jackson to Morrison. Nat Tatham very much playing into the breeze at the moment, Victory. You see the return back pass just had a little bit more juice on it. Policina. And now Bunge repelling for Victory. Eliadis trying to bring the ball under control. It's a little bit choppier in that centre circle of the ground. The pitch a little bit heavier than the rest of the field. So we see Jessica Nash getting forward the right back into the path of Zimmerman. Zimmerman lifts a first-time cross over the head of all and sundry in the penalty area, though. Beatty Goad is first out to the ball. Again, Melissa Barbieri, you can hear the shouts of the goalkeeper. And that's what Hubs does, Melissa Barbieri. She's an on-field coach as much as she is the goalkeeper.
She really is, and with the young side, in front of her today, they need that. They need someone rallying them behind, and that's what Bubs will definitely do in every game.
Minnie is Rihanna Policina, for those of you wondering, so that's who she's shouting at there. Real tussle, and was there contact on McKenna that constituted a foul? It appears so. So instead of a corner kick, it's a Melbourne City either goal kick or foul. McKenna dusts herself off. Of course, played in a finals win against Melbourne Victory at Amy Park, playing for Perth Glory back in 2019.
Yeah, it looks like the refs deemed that a bit of a pull down from Eliadis. It started with both players giving it and ended with Eliadis.
McNamara misses the pass. Rojas dragged up from centre forward. Took Bunge with it, but was able to protect the ball well. Now Katie Bowen. Clearly not happy there, Bowen. Full of chat as she turned and played a back pass. See just the one touch in the opposition penalty area for Melbourne City compared to 7 for that of Victory. Now a foul will see Melbourne City perhaps try to change that equation.
A lot of players being dispossessed in that midfield area today. It's going to be a crucial area in this game. Who's going to be able to take control in that midfield?
22 minutes ticked over. Normally this would be about a quarter of your 90, but don't forget we must have a winner today. So if we can't separate the teams after 90 minutes, it'll be 15-minute halves of extra time. If they can't be separated then, penalties. But Teresa, we haven't had a penalty shootout since 2016, January 2016, back in the old W League. So more than 7 years since we needed a penalty shootout in this competition.
That's a very long time and probably long overdue, and today could be the day, Teo.
Now, Katie Bowen's just being assessed here for a head clash, of which she's borne the brunt. More than 80 caps for New Zealand, Katie Bowen, so she's certainly seen it all, the 29-year-old, playing her first season in the A-League Women's, having predominantly been based in America, both college and professional prior to this year. And is there a bit of a blood nose, Teresa? So this might be running repairs here for Bowen.
Yeah, she tried to get up and stay on the pitch. She looked a little bit groggy and confused, so definitely a hit to the nose there. There is some blood. She'll get assessed now.
Well, crucially, it'll be an assessment that takes place off the pitch. So City are down to 10. They're going to have to maybe tuck an extra number back into their midfield here, and Victory will try to seize the opportunity. 11 versus 10. And what reorganisation do the players have to do on the run out there?
Yeah, given that just happened so quickly, we can see why Bowen wanted to stay on the pitch. But yeah, you really need to identify that early and send probably your deepest midfield back to cover for her.
So we'll see how that affects the positioning of Letitia McKenna in particular here. Looks as though Policina has dropped back into a deeper role as well in the absence of Bowen. And the checkers on the ball right now. Misses the teammates. Found Jessica Nash, who then returns it straight to Grosso of City. Rojas has yet to really be played into a dangerous position, but this is more promising from Melbourne City, and Holly McNamara can go to work on the dribble, taking on Kayla Morrison. Morrison went to ground. McNamara kept possession through the slide challenge, but then ran out of space against the byline.
Good play from City there. They had a player off the pitch and know that they needed to keep the ball. Here's Holly McNamara's run. Certainly took a touch off Morrison, and she tried to evade the ball there to let it run out for a corner, but it caught her left foot there.
Morrison to Bunge. Bowen's back on the pitch, so the full complement of 11 restored. Nash, a bending cross. Torpy watched the ball bounce on. Goad was coming in from the blind side, but a little too late. The pass is a giveaway. Jackson. And the ball runs out. What do you make of just the way that the City players are talking to each other? We saw Bowen before getting that knock. We've seen Torpy. We've seen Barbieri. There just seems to be a lot of frustrated players with each other out there at the moment.
It sounds very stressful out there at the moment, and possibly boils down to some players not being fully focused for whatever reason. This is a final now, and some players might not have been in this situation before. So I'd say that the urgency out there comes from the fact that this is a final, and possibly some players are feeling the nerves.
See the little tangle of boots there between Rojas and Morrison. Morrison gets the decision. Free kick taken along. Ayres. Oh, contact from Chinema. Ayres quick to look to the referee, who's not interested. And the ball runs out for a goal kick, but it was a little clumsy from Chinema there, and Melina Ayres, whose specialty is positioning.
There was an arm that came across there. Oh, that's contact there. That's very, very lucky that in Chinema's
given away regardless. Ayres. Oh, and the chance is quickly snuffed out by Checker. Galich flicking the ball out to the left, and McNamara, and now Galich. Look at the movement of the Melbourne City midfielder. Takes possession, tries to cut inside Morrison, who went to ground and committed to the ball, and that was vital. But Daniela Galich really just showed an amazing acceleration there.
She did. And the game's now opened up a little bit, so we're seeing more end-to-end play here.
Zimmerman coming deep to help out the midfield. Morrison driving the ball long, headed from Checker. The ball tumbles out for a City throw. Grosso hugging the line. McNamara. Grosso once more. Sets Bowen a task. Bowen is able to lose the attention of Ayres. Melbourne Victory happy to stand off and just let City play these passes inside their defensive half, not in threatening territory. And now Eliadis gets interested in a press. Pollicina.
Some more controlled possession here from Melbourne City, and perhaps to get their confidence up, start getting more of a hold on this ball.
All 11 Victory players behind the ball at the moment, though. So for all the passing and all the work being done, City aren't actually making headway here. Bowen is trying to change that situation. Grosso scanning around the field. Torpy, and then given away. Victory can counter. Beatty Goat has Ayres ahead of the ball, but uses Eliadis instead. Back to Nash. To Morrison. Brings the ball to ground and then has to hold off Pollicina with real strength. And then strikes the ball long down the left side. Chinema has it covered. What do you make of, see, the little tactical nuances and battles within the battle? What did you make of that passage of play there? I'll come back to that in a moment, because Checker's almost been worried out of possession by Ayres. Ayres wins the ball back cleanly too. Swinging in across. Oh, Barbieri's dropped it. It's a scramble, and it's been missed by Zimmerman. What an opportunity for Victory. Both Eliadis and Zimmerman with a loose ball in the penalty area, but it goes high. What a let-off.
What a let-off, all right. And that came from nothing. We had a cross from Ayres, and that's catching practice basically for Bubs, and she's dropped it on that occasion and created an opportunity for Victory there. Very fortunate for City.
Well, it was a twofold mistake, wasn't it? Because Checker got caught in possession by Ayres, and then Barbieri dropped the cross. So it's not like they didn't have chances to get that ball out of danger.
No, they definitely had chances, and Checker opted to go for the foul there. And, you know, that number one rule, especially at the back, play that whistle. You do not stop until you hear that whistle.
McKenna. Eliadis backtracking, able to win the ball away. Now Nash. Alana Murphy. And the pass out to Beatty Goat on the left, who's making ground in the middle though. Murphy is making a run. Goad puts it in, flashes through the box, and then sliced away by Grosso. It could have gone in for an own goal, but fortunately for Melbourne City, it's only behind for a corner kick.
What a great cross-pitch ball from Alana Murphy to set up Beatty Goad here, and she does well one-on-one. She whips in a really great cross, a dangerous cross, and that could have deflected anywhere there off Grosso.
Big pack of players waiting under this corner kick. It's knocked down at the edge of the 6-yard box. Pollicina sweeps it away. Only Nat Tatham back for Victory. Everyone was back defending for Melbourne City, and some defending from the front being done here has come at a personal cost for Holly McNamara. And while she's on her haunches, just getting her bearings, let's throw back down to Neve Owens on the sideline.
Hopefully we see Holly Mack back up and in action in just a moment's time. Teo, the crowd here strongly favouring Melbourne Victory, and one member of that crowd would have been right behind Catherine Zimmerman as she took that shot on goal a moment ago. Her dad has flown in from the States. It was a surprise for Zim. He arrived late this week to surprise her ahead of this elimination final. So she had one opportunity there. Hopefully she has a couple more throughout this game.
Great to hear. Pretty hard to keep secret in this day and age, but well done to Zimmer Dad. And after just over half an hour here, Teresa, before that little half chance for Melbourne Victory, which they missed, I was saying the Melbourne City had that long passage of passes, about 20 plus, but they never actually got any headway past the Melbourne City midfield, never mind the Victory defence. And so what does that say about how the game is evolving? That they can keep possession in a sterile area, but when Melbourne Victory press like this, they immediately look like they're struggling. Foul comes to their aid on this occasion.
That's right, Teo, and that possession stat can often mean nothing. But I think with that run of play, it was great possession, and City were looking, they were picking their moment to go, and they eventually found Torpy, but she was trying to release Policina on the break there, but Beattie Goad was up for that challenge and intercepted it.
So you see here Victory with their attackers, their midfielders quite advanced here into the attacking half, sensing the opportunity to win the ball back, but McNamara has protected it well. Torpy to McKenna. McKenna runs into a 1-on-3, is able to protect the ball well enough. Jackson, not subtle with the shove on Policina. Jackson's got a couple of fouls, and of course you can, Policina perhaps quite rightly asking where's the yellow card, because it's not just the act themselves, Teresa, you can get booked for persistent fouling as well.
You definitely can. I don't know if Amy Jackson had a foul before this, but a very, very strong challenge
The big
on
one
Policina there.
The big one on McNamara.
Ah, yes. So lucky to get away without a card there, and you can see why Policina was, asking the ref, what about the yellow?
I was trying to stamp on you here in the box, but yes, those of you remembering earlier in the game, Jackson perhaps now walking the tightrope. Here's the resulting free kick for Policina. Whips it to the edge of the box. It falls kindly for Victory. Zimmerman. A little snap at the heels from McNamara, but can't take the ball. Zimmerman drives it into Policina, who doesn't shrug. And the ball deflects out.
Melbourne Victory are playing a very, very physical game today. So unless Melbourne City match that, we might be seeing Victory take over.
Of course, one of the heroes of Amy Park, Paige Zoyce, not available due to injury for Melbourne Victory today. So Jeff Hopkins with one of the players that he knows can score a goal against Melbourne City, not out there. We mentioned Alex Chidiac in the first head-to-head. So of the 3 goals they've scored this season against City, the Victory, 2 of the goal scorers aren't here today, aren't available to them in the game. And of course the other was a penalty from Melina Ayres. Here's Dumont. Victory's turn to look nervous in defence, and Casey Dumont, who's been a mere spectator after that early save, really called into action for the first time in almost half an hour and nearly came a cropper. Morrison just drives the ball away. And Chinema up for a very hard one-header. The referee's pointing Melbourne Victory's way, and Casey Dumont with an apology to her fellow defenders.
Yeah, and it can be hard. She hasn't had any action, like you said, in the opening 30 minutes, and then was called into action under pressure, took a heavy touch, and was very fortunate to get away with that one.
Just a lucky deflection in the end that saves her from giving the ball away to 2 opponents. 10 minutes of regulation to go in the first half. Chinema back up after a really heavy landing a moment ago, perhaps unlucky not to have been given a foul, Chinema, but doesn't look too daunted. Tatham's throw. Torpy with the header. Both teams appealing for every free kick, every throw at the moment. Goad not even looking at the ball there as Tatham hurled it straight to Torpy. Those two actually debuted in the same game for the Brisbane Roar back in 2016. 2 Queenslanders that now call Melbourne home. Here's Nash. Through comes Grosso. Nash defending from the front. Back to Checker. Decision time. Checker just goes and lofts the ball. McNamara is going to make it work. What a great first and second touch. And opens up the pitch for Policina. And now McNamara. She's quick, but how quick is she? Morrison has to go to ground. McNamara is asking, was there a foul? But I think Morrison got the ball. But you saw the speed of Holly McNamara there. Policina just backed her in to chase that pass down, and it very nearly came off. Victory won a counter-attack.
Not to mention the finesse in Holly McNamara's touch. That was exquisite, that touch.
Galich calms things down. Checker. This one's going to bend out for a throw.
Have a look at this touch from Holly McNamara. Plays in Policina. And here's that challenge. Did Morrison get a touch on that ball? The referee deems it so.
I think you can just see the tippy toe there.
Definitely. Great tackle there.
Still, it's fine margins, isn't it, though? It's one frame, it's a 10th of a second, and McNamara gets to the ball first. Morrison's potentially looking at a red card.
That was timed to perfection, and she had to do that. She had to do that.
Will there be a goal before half-time? It feels as though this game's got a mistake in it in equal measure to a moment of magic that could decide who scores first. And as we know, it is so important in finals. Torpy. Bunge brings the ball under control and finds Murphy right up the middle. It's almost into the teeth of the breeze there. You saw the ball hold up for Grosso to spin around. Now find Katie Bowen. Advancing with the ball here, Bowen. This has been a rarity in the first half. The flag stays down. No, the flag goes up. And Dumont made the save in any case. So the little psychological advantage remains with Casey Dumont, even though it was offside.
Another great attack there from City. There was no pressure through the midfield there, and if you don't put any pressure on the City players, that's what it results in. Bowen was away here, and she picked a nice ball into McNamara, who was marginally offside there. But Casey Dumont, one-on-one, champion.
I think even if McNamara had been on and that was a tight call, Rojas coming back from an offside position more or less ran right over where the ball was, and so had to be deemed to be interfering with play, even though she didn't take possession. Still, City will be encouraged by starting to ask some questions of the Victory defensive line.
They've settled into the game now, so it's anyone's match at this point.
Perhaps they won't want half time to arrive too quickly then, Melbourne City, now that they're starting to enjoy possession in a far more advanced area of the pitch. Grosso to Torpy. That's been a rarity too. Caitlin Torpy getting down into the attacking third. See Grosso here, wheeling and dealing. Galich just hurried by that pass and gives it away.
And Victory were actually pressing a lot higher earlier. Now that they've dropped off, City seem to be dominating. So I'm not sure whether there's a correlation there, but Victory have dropped off.
Go to Tatham, has to be careful, coughs up the ball, Tatham, and Policina takes over, flashes it out to McNamara, on the tight angle, cuts it across, City score, and the player who started the move, Rihanna Policina, is the deadlock breaker. Such a costly giveaway from Victory, and it's Rihanna Policina with goal number 9 of the season that makes it City 1-0.
And that's what Policina does best. She combined with Holly McNamara, played her out, continued a darting run into the box. Of course, Holly McNamara finds her, and beautiful finish. Here it is. Here's where it started. There was a press, 2-player press on Nat Tatham. Holly McNamara goes away. Great cross to Policina, and what a finish.
It's the same combination that scored City's second goal against Canberra, and Policina finishing in a similar style, sliding in on the ground. But McNamara and Policina, the pincer movement there on Tatham, they picked their moment when to press, didn't they?
They did. They picked their moment. It was the perfect moment. They won it in a really vulnerable area for Victory, and this is what it results in. Very dangerous pair, those two.
Rihanna Policina fired up and scoring another goal. What a season she's ended up having. 9 goals in 18 games. You factor in that coming into the season, Policina already had a marvellous strike rate for an attacker, but she's matched her career tally in a single campaign. She had 9 in 32 coming into the season. So, as we know, teams come from behind to win in finals just 14% of the time, Teresa. Melbourne Victory are going to have to, even if they get a draw, even if they get it to penalties, the odds are against them from here.
Well, look, the way they've gotten into finals the last 2-3 seasons, against all odds. So I wouldn't put it past them, Nate. If there's a team that can do it, it's the Victory.
City would love a second, though. Cote Rojas now up and stepping and taking on Nash, who's grabbing and grappling, and Rojas keeps her feet. Morrison clears initially. Galich loaded up for the cross. Deflected by Zimmerman. Now Bowen. Pollicina has one. Pollicina is denied. City so close to 2 in quick succession. And it slid wide. Dumont didn't get a touch. It's a goal kick.
It's amazing how a goal can change a game. Look at that lovely touch there from Bowen. And the last player you want it landing at is Pollicina in that area. She's so good at finishing.
A bit of a minor miracle that it didn't catch a deflection, and now all roads lead to Rihanna Pollicina here, but that pass is picked up by Casey Dumont. Pollicina, the 26-year-old who debuted as a teenager for Western Sydney Wanderers, 5 games in her only season, and for a number of years it looked like that would be her only season, but she went away, worked on her game in the NPL, came back in her 20s to the Newcastle Jets. 1 season there where she was player of the campaign, and then she's had 2 immense seasons with Melbourne City since.
Absolutely immense, and it started recently at the Jets once again after a hiatus, and she's just had an amazing journey, and she epitomises hard work and not giving up.
And right now, it's Melbourne City who, having absorbed a lot from Melbourne Victory in this first half, having looked shaky for a lot of it, they are finishing with quite literally a wet sail here at Casey Fields. Here's Grosso down the left. And the ball hit the corner flag. It didn't go out. Grosso had clocked off. Now has to go back. It's a duel between the 2 Americans, Grosso and Zimmerman. And in the battle between New Hampshire and Kentucky, it's New Hampshire that wins, and Zimmerman gets the ball away. Here's Murphy. Victory. Can they equalise before half-time? Clever defending from Torpy just to block the path of Beattie Goad and allow Chinema an uncontested back pass.
And those are the 1%ers we talk about, Teo. Just something so small like that. So experienced and street smart from Torpy. City have arrived. It's all City at the moment.
Last minute of regulation at the end of the first half. And things just slow down. When Victory stand off, City are happy to take their time. We saw this earlier in the half. It's perhaps a testament to just how high Victory have kept the tempo and the energy so far in the game, that lulls like this have been a rarity. Chinema. Bowen. Knew where McNamara and Torpy and Pollicina were standing. So the ball is whipped out to the right, but it's sent back to the centre of defence again. Fourth official, Isabella Blais, will lift the board and show that there will be 2 additional minutes at the end of the half. Enough time for Melbourne City to double their lead, especially with a player like McNamara on the ball. Torpy played it into a 50-50. Eliadis won it away for Victory. The ball just holds up neatly for Goad in the breeze. Can Victory commit numbers forward, though, at the end of the half? There's already a few tired players out there. Goad looks for an extra burst of energy, but McNamara helping out the defence and gets clipped across the ankles. It's a free kick.
Good play there from Polly McNamara. She came to show, you know, she's got that defensive side in her game, and she won the foul for her team. She just stood her ground there and invited Goad in and takes the foul.
Will be interesting to see how many minutes Holly McNamara has. She's played between 60 and 70 minutes a handful of times since her comeback from an ACL. She flew over to the United Kingdom to join up with the Matildas camp, but then was released early before the England game to come back to Australia. How many minutes in the legs today? Beattie Goad in possession now for Victory. Murphy. Into the last of the allocated 2 minutes of stoppage time to finish the first 45. Tatham. Now Morrison. Enough time for Victory if they're clean here, but that pass from Jackson is intercepted by Chinema. And now McKenna. He's just going to take the ball on a ranging run and calm things down at the feet of Emma Checker.
City just being smart here. They're happy to run the clock and get to half-time with the 1-0 lead.
even if the ball did tail out there for a throw. It might be time up at the end of the first half. Let's see just how much longer Lara Lee will let the players continue. I suspect the whistle's in the mouth to whistle for half-time. Indeed, there it is. Not even the throw taken. And so it's Rihanna Policina who's the difference between the two teams at the moment. And as things stand, the back-to-back Liberty A-League champions will be going out in the elimination final. But we know that there is so much more to the story in finals football. Holly McNamara has the assist. Rihanna Policina's goal is the difference. At half-time, it's Melbourne City 1, Melbourne Victory 0. And a very entertaining first half, which had some real ebbs and flows in terms of the team on top and the tactical nuances and differences between the teams. We know that Melbourne City have not been able to keep their defence tight for 90 minutes in their last two games. This one's far from over. Let's get some instant reaction. Neve Owens is on the sidelines.
Thanks, Teo. Rihanna, that was an important goal in the first half. It felt like City were really building into the game. Talk us through that moment for you.
Yeah, we've kept the ball quite well, but we just need to be a bit more clinical in front of goal. And we won it high up the pitch, holding behind, and we always know she's going to cut the ball back, so following up through there.
It felt like Victory started the game really aggressively on the front foot early, but your side really worked your way back into what felt like a dominant position at halftime.
Yeah, for sure. Victory started really well, but we have the ball. And until Victory get the ball higher up, then they're not really causing us any dangers up there. So we're doing really well.
Good luck. Thank you. Rihanna Policina, the goal scorer from the first half here at Casey Fields, joining us. Time for a quick break here. It is 1-0 Melbourne City over Melbourne Victory at halftime. Welcome back. It is elimination final time at Casey Fields, and at halftime it is Melbourne City with the lead thanks to a cracking strike from Rihanna Policina, her 9th of the Liberty A-League season and part of a very strong half from Melbourne City. Hello and welcome to our halftime show. I'm Neve Owens here alongside Matilda and Melbourne Victory midfielder Elise Kellon-Knight. KK, your Victory girls started that half so strong, but it felt like by the end of the half it was very much City dominating.
Yeah, the game swing, didn't it? I thought we started really strong. I'm a little bit biased, aren't I? I thought Melbourne Victory started strong. They had a great free kick, chance off the corner as well. But then we saw Melbourne City typically take domination of the game, where their possession style took over, and it's hard for the girls in Victory to get pressure on the ball because of the box midfield that the City play.
And you can see how that first half really swung when we have a look at the stats here at half-time. Melbourne Victory with 7 shots but only 1 on target, and City by half-time hitting that 60% possession stat, which they've averaged throughout the season and have really made their own. Let's have a look at the goal that has proved the difference at half-time. Rihanna Policina, and who else but to feed her, KK, Holly McNamara.
Yeah, I mean, it came off a mistake here by Victory, conceding the ball in the back third, and then the City were able to capitalise on it really well, and it was a great pass that McNamara picked out where she found Policina, who had started the whole movement.
We speak a lot about Rojas, about Wilkinson, but it's Policina who's scored 9, the top goal scorer for City this season.
Yeah, she's extremely dangerous. Obviously makes those penetrating forward runs and is always dangerous. I mean, she was the one who initiated it from the press, pinched the ball off Nathan here, and then finished the whole movement off with a tidy finish.
She had looked dangerous throughout the half. Holly McNamara as well has been targeted at times by Melbourne Victory. They know how dangerous she is. What have you thought about her first half performance after spending that time in Matilda's camp, not getting any game time over in the UK, and now back here and starting for Melbourne City today?
Yeah, she's had some great chances. I mean, the one at far post could have easily been a goal on any other day, and then turning provider for her teammate here in Policina. So I think she's had a really, really great first half. She looks dangerous, and I think we're going to see more in the second half as the game opens up. She's going to have more spaces to run in. She's playing as a top 2 with Rojas, but she's certainly had more impact on the game than Rojas has.
You can see Policina's celebration there. Casey Dumont beaten on that occasion, but gosh, she was good for Victory in the first half of this clash as well. Rihanna Policina, the standout player in the first 45 of this elimination final. You can see there, KK, 44 touches, and just how accurate she is. She finds her target so often.
Yeah, I mean, as a forward player, I mean, she's playing in a 10 role. You can look at touches, but I think at the end of the day, it's critical opportunities she made, and being able to pinch the ball in the top third and then turn that around into an attack, you can see how dangerous she is.
Let's have a look at something to make your heart a little bit happier, and that's the chances, because Melbourne Victory started this game strong, aggressive, and from the set piece had a couple of really good opportunities.
Yeah, I thought we were going to have deja vu against Wellington last week with Murphy with an early on free kick. It was a good chance, put it on target. And then we've gone into here with City's chance. It's a great play by Policina with through ball and McNamara at far post. Any other day, that's an easy goal. Casey did really well to stand up and cover enough of the far post. And then you've got here, like I said, mistakes might be an important part of this game, and Barbieri coughed up the ball, and unfortunately Zim wasn't able to keep that shot down. Leaning back, ball rising, it's always going to be a hard chance.
It was a really difficult one for her there, wasn't it, as she turned towards goal. Zim's dad's here cheering on from the crowd. He's flown in from the States. As the half wore on, though, it was City who had the majority and the most clear-cut of the chances.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at how many shots Victory have had, I think City have actually had the upper hand in how, if you looked at the XG, the expected goals, City are probably higher at the moment. If you look at some of the critical tackles that City have received as well, I mean, Kayla Morrison's been immense. I mean, this chance that McNamara could have potentially had, she was able to get a last-minute challenge in, and also Casey's really stood up and produced some great efforts in defence.
We've talked a little bit about the weather conditions here today. It is a little bit drizzly still. It's not the sprinklers, although the team is doing well to protect us from the sprinklers at this moment. But you said yourself in that first half that the wind was behind City and it was worth a goal. We'll see Victory with that wind behind them in the second half.
Yeah, when you play at exposed stadiums like this, I think the weather is another element that the girls have to take into account. So City were actually kicking with the wind this half. They're going to have to turn around and kick into it now. So I think personally, when you play in these conditions, I think it's a goal and a half in the wind.
We saw them winning that midfield battle, City, but when they hit that last line of victory defence, Kayla Morrison was immense, as you said, as we watched those highlights. She was a beast. And as we have a look at some of the chances that City created, you can really see victory with those final tackles and important tackles throughout that first half.
Yeah, that's what you need your captain to do, to stand up and make these challenges. Timing is everything, and her timing's really on today. If you get one of them wrong, it's an easy penalty, but she's really nailed down that.
She was an absolute beast. You can vote for your player of the match. Is it Kayla Morrison? Is it Rihanna Pollicino, who had the goal in the first half? Don't forget to vote for your player of the match right throughout this Liberty A-League Finals series. Scan that barcode to vote for your player of the match. At halftime, KK, where's your vote sitting?
Probably McNamara. I think she's created the most chances. I mean, she's looked the most dangerous on the field. But of course, I want to pick a victory player. Yeah. But I think in this case, it's probably going to have to be McNamara.
I mean, you arrived in your victory jersey, so that just shows how dominant Holly McNamara has been in the first half, that you've said she's player of the match at halftime. The second half is coming up in just a moment's time after this very quick break. Victory with it all to do, because it is elimination final time, and Melbourne City hold a 1-goal lead heading into the second half.
Welcome back to live pictures from Casey Fields, where a bit of rough and tumble in the first half was culminated in a moment of class, with Rihanna Pollicino scoring the one and only goal so far in this Melbourne Derby elimination final. And And there is the goal scorer, Policina, about to get proceedings back underway. You can tell it's cold, it's windy. There's a bit of rain around at Casey Fields in the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. But will it be 45 minutes to go, or will it be more? Melbourne Victory are going to be the ones chasing an equaliser here in this second half. Melbourne City trying to advance to the preliminary final. We're back underway, and it's City who start proceedings 1 goal to the good. Teresa Polias, as the second half kicks off, Melbourne Victory will be chasing the game. As we see this pass here from Zimmerman run down to Beattie Goad and out for a goal kick. Something caught our eye as the Victory players came back out onto the pitch for the start of the second half.
It did. We saw Jeff Hopkins having a close chat with Melina Ayres, and you know what? His words could be magic. He is a magic coach, so if someone can break that deadlock for the Victory, it's Melina Ayres. So
Ayres certainly not prominent in the first half, but when you're a goal sneak, a bit of a penalty area poacher, you don't need to be. Holly McNamara, a bit of a different situation for her. She set up Melbourne City's only goal and loomed large for much of the half.
I thought Melina Ayres looked dangerous and busy in the first part of the first half when Victory were pressing higher, and then once they dropped off, it made it a lot harder for her to get onto the ball in the areas where she does the damage.
There's one man who won't flinch in the rain. It's Jeff Hopkins. He looks like he's absolutely in his element here.
Looks like he's enjoying it.
Neither team turned to the bench in the first half. So as this second half wears on, what minute will either side start to make changes? We know that Melbourne City, when they've made substitutions in their last 2 games, that's where things have gone haywire, and not necessarily for the best. Here's Checker playing the ball to Grosso, and now Galich. Quick return pass to Grosso, being stood up by Nash. And now Galich plays the pass back to Katie Bowen, sliding it low. Rojas touching on to Grosso. Grosso wrapped up by Nash, but is still able to squeak the ball through. Chases down her own deflection. Galich now. McKenna. Doesn't fancy a shot from distance, puts it on the head of Beattie Goad though. And Melbourne Victory are able to clear their lines. Alana Murphy plays the pass up to Tiff Eliadis, knocks it inside to Melina Ayres, weaving through the attacking midfield and the backtracking McNamara, full of energy. Went to ground and then bounced right back up at Amy Jackson with a cynical foul. And after walking the tightrope in the first half, the first yellow card pops out of Lara Lee's pocket for Amy Jackson at the start of the second.
And I think she definitely knew that was coming, but here's that great challenge by Holly McNamara. She can really do everything, can't she? She can attack, she can defend. She was well on her way here. Cynical foul from Amy Jackson, and as soon as the whistle was blown, she knew that the card was coming out.
Yeah, the regular tenant, the Casey Demons, might give Amy Jackson a call if that's the sort of tackle she's applying here. There's one player who knows how to walk the tightrope, being on a yellow card. It will be Jackson, but as we know, finals time. Greater pressure on decision-making, heightened level of tension. Red cards do tend to appear quite frequently. I wonder if that's something Melbourne City might need in order to find the finish line here. They would love to maintain this clean sheet and advance without too much drama. They'd love a second as well, but Claudia Bunge isn't letting that happen. Zimmerman wins the header, but only as far as Katie Bowen. Grosso. Now Galich at the edge of the box, trying to free the feet. It's a real tangle in there. Policina goes to ground. Murphy made the tackle. The referee saw nothing wrong with it. Jackson hits a long ball, and now it's a foot race. Melina Ayres is a lone hand up top. Emma Checker there to guard. Ayres, defenders getting back. Ayres shooting, and Melissa Barbieri saw it all the way.
I thought for a second Melina Ayres might take a shot first time there. We've seen her score from positions like that time and time again, but she opted to take the touch, try to open up a shooting chance. Got the shot away, but not enough to beat Barbieri there.
Barbieri had to hold it because Beattie Goad was advancing in for any potential spill. And now Victory are sensing the opportunity to attack. Jess Nash, the right back, getting forward. And Grosso puts the ball behind for a corner kick. I mentioned Amy Jackson's experience. Today's game, 142. Yellow card number 22. She's never been sent off in the A-League Women's. So there you go. Someone who knows how to play on a yellow card.
Absolutely. That's experience for you, Teo.
Jackson, very much a veteran at 35 years of age, turns 36 in September. And we've got a bit of a delay here as we have the referee just laying down the law, doing the talking to of defenders and attackers. Who's treading on each other's toes in this big pack of players. Victory corner then. And it's turned off the crossbar by Eliadis. Acrobatic from Ayres, keeps the ball down in attack. Goad, the corner taker, charges in. Can't force it forward. Murphy, though, second time ball potentially on the way. Murphy, it's a low cross and dealt with by Grosso, who just drives it away. And Tiff Eliadis, so close.
So close. It was a great delivery from Goad there, and Eliadis was waiting for it. She was ready and glanced it behind her, but it hits the crossbar, unfortunately, for Victory.
Even the underside of the crossbar would have gone in, and then Ayres, the spectacular, didn't quite come off, but, well, so close for Melbourne Victory. And they sense their chance to really press for the equaliser. And the referee is whistling for a penalty. Naomi Chinnaman has been penalised for how she went in on Beattie Goad. And even though the shot went wide, Melbourne Victory will get another chance here to score from the penalty spot.
Well, the City players are asking the question. They're definitely not happy about this, but here it is. Ooh. A late challenge there from Chinnaman.
Well, the ball's long gone for starters. It's all about Beattie Goad's left leg there being caught in between Chinnaman's two-footed challenge. Is that a fair enough call for the penalty kick?
Look, I think the biggest thing for the ref, she didn't get any part of the ball and got all legs there. So it's hard to argue that one.
Oh, Melissa Barbieri will argue. And this is similar, but not exactly the same, as Amy Park in the most recent derby. It was Sally James who was in goal that day. Melissa Barbieri has since regained the #1 gloves, coming back from injury. And so Melina Ayres will step out the run-up to try and score the equaliser here for Melbourne Victory. 9 for the season for Ayres, to make it 10, to make it 1-1 in the elimination final. Melissa Barbieri waits on the goal line. Here's the penalty. And Ayres scores! Victory a level! And this final has plenty of twists and turns to come. Double figures for the season for Ayres. And it's 1-1.
It's 1-1, and what a penalty. Goes the opposite way of the keeper, perfectly taken. And Melina Ayres, the one we said could step up, has stepped up. Game on, Teo.
And even though she's got a huge strapping around that right knee, there were no issues whatsoever. A picture of concentration before the penalty, T. And look at that, not giving a great deal away afterwards. No smile, all business.
And not to mention that chat she had with Jeff Hopkins before she came on.
Well, you spotted it, you called it to a T. And Melina Ayres brings this game level. I mentioned it's 10 for the season. It's career goal number 28 for Melina Ayres, who turned 24 just a couple of days ago. So really now entering the prime years of her career. No longer a young striker, very much an established striker in the Liberty A-League. And who knows which direction this elimination final will go from here. There is no tomorrow for the loser. There must be a winner today. Brianna Policina, McNamara to Grosso. It's Grosso! And shoots it straight at Dumont. With the goal at her mercy, she picked out the keeper.
It's a great response there from Melbourne City. They haven't put their heads down. They're picking up where they left off, and Grosso does really well here to cut in front of Nash, because if there's any contact there, then they could win a penalty. It's just her finish that she couldn't connect with.
Well, Julia Grosso, who scored her first goal of the season in the game, second to last away to Perth Glory, could have got on a streak here. With the ball out of play, let's go down to Neve Owens. Neve, it's all happening.
It sure is, Teo. What a start to the second half. It absolutely has an elimination final vibe now, doesn't it? Both coaches are up and about in the coaches' box. The crowd, particularly from a Melbourne Victory they're up on their feet here on the touchline as well. And we know Melina Ayres, who came back from that long-term ACL injury during the final series last year to score 2 goals in 3 games. She has shown once again just what a dangerous player she is.
Galich flashes the ball out to Bowen. Galich, City have taken possession in advanced territory as they go back in search of the lead once again. 10 second half minutes expired. Ball down the left. Eliadis off and running. And out of the penalty area comes Melissa Barbieri. Preventative goalkeeping. Quickly back to her line. Rain getting heavier and heavier. If nothing else, these two teams, the winner will be happy that they get an extra 24 hours recovery compared to whoever is the defeated side when Sydney FC take on Western United. Qualifying final tomorrow. Funnily enough, Western United are about to hit the pitch to train right now, Teresa. They're not even going to be watching the exciting climax to this game. Well, as we see a foul here, dare I say, they may have a few phones and tablets set up on the sideline during their training session just to keep them posted on what's going to happen.
Yeah, either that or it's just full focus. But we see there the foul on Jessica Nash by McKenna. Comes from behind and just shoves her. It's a foul in another good area for the Victory.
Dario Vidizic stepped into the coach's chair in Game 1, was appointed permanently to the role in Game 3 after Dad Rado went to take over the men's A-League team. Discussion going on here between Beattie Goad and Alana Murphy. Shout comes from the sideline. Yeah, what Jeff Hopkins says goes, I suspect. And so it will be Murphy looking for a teammate. And Grosso, just like the first half, doesn't mind the old shank out for a corner, but clearly he's got it down to a science.
Yeah, maybe it's a deliberate from Grosso because it tends to keep happening, but another corner here. And that's that little dink in from Murphy. And I think that discussion that her and Beattie Goad were having might have been in regards to whether it's in shooting range or just outside of it. So they've obviously deemed it just outside and better to opt for the dink in.
Referee Lara Lee has specifically picked out Kode Rojas here and Tiff Eliadis. Eliadis has a great vertical leap, and Kode is marking Eliadis here. Again, Melbourne City, they'll be a well-researched team. They'll know the danger of Eliadis, not just because she hit the crossbar earlier in this half. Here's the corner, skimming off heads, and through the penalty area it goes. And let's go back down to the sidelines. Neve Owens has got another update for us.
Teo, it is absolutely hammering here at Casey Fields now. The rain is pouring down. Melbourne City coaching box are up and about. They're having a word with the fourth official, and Hannah Wilkinson has been warming up. It looks like she's having a little look back at some team notes, some team plans now, but I reckon we'll see that first Melbourne City substitution in a moment, and it'll be a New Zealand international at that.
Thank you, Neve. So keeping us posted. You could hear the rain hammering down on the umbrella there, as it would be for many of the spectators too around Casey Fields, as Rojas, with a flying attempt on the tight angle, puts it into the side netting. And will that be Rojas's last involvement in the game? Wilkinson takes off the track suit and is ready to step up to the fourth official and get subbed into this match. Speaking of Kiwi internationals, Katie Bowen there, knocking over Catherine Zimmerman. City on the move. McNamara. Ball just bobbles away. Dumont clearing to Tatham. And the ball runs out. And that does appear to be prompting the first substitution. You see possession in the second half. Melbourne City at 70%. Maybe this is where Hannah Wilkinson can capitalise. Kote Rojas hasn't quite had the impact on the game she would have hoped for, and after 60 minutes, it's time to make the swap.
Yeah, she's absolutely tried her hardest, as she does in every game, but didn't make the impact she would have liked today. So it's the perfect time to bring Hannah Wilkinson on to make a stamp on this game and hopefully get a goal for her team.
Wilkinson, who scored City's goal here at Casey Fields earlier in the season in the 1-1 draw. Same scoreline as we have right now. And even though she hasn't been as prolific as season 1, Hannah Wilkinson still has 5 in 13 this campaign for 19 total goals in just 27 appearances, which does make her the top all-time Melbourne City goal scorer. The team that entered the Old W League in the 2015-16 season. Certainly had some great names that have played for them over the journey, winning all those trophies as well. Jess Fishlock scored so many goals from midfield, but having a really busy number 9. Wilkinson's the first. Here's Ayres with a shot on sight. And Barbieri is sharply down just to hold on, and that's what Ayres can do, just pop up out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. She's so good at that. She scores when the team needs it most, just like she's done today so far, but she wants more.
Galich, hefty challenge from Jackson, the only player on the pitch on a yellow card. Referee doesn't see a foul. Galich just bounces right back up and gets on with it. The 16-year-old doesn't turn 17 until June. What a young talent. Playing the ball through the left channel, and Nash gets down to clear away.
Love the commitment here from Amy Jackson. And look, I actually don't think she did make any contact with the ball there. Very, very fortunate to still be on the pitch.
That is, yeah, a deflected shot coming up here from Katie Bowen. Will it go out for a corner or a goal kick, though? What's the call? It's a corner, so a little bonus for Melbourne City, but I think you're spot on there. That was a really big risk, and you speak as a former defensive midfielder yourself, Teresa.
Yes, and having been on a number of yellow cards, yeah, that's a really risky situation to put yourself and the team in. And in real time, it looked like she did make contact with the ball, but the replay said differently.
So here comes the corner kick. Policina, the City goal scorer, trying to turn provider now. Wilkinson, the obvious target. Here's the volley from Torpy, and it's set up in the 6-yard box. Morrison clearing away. And Caitlin Torpy, who's popped up with vital goals, 2 so far this season, including the equaliser against Sydney FC, is foiled by a close-range block here. Katie Bowen was shown the left channel, and so she takes it here. Bowen now scoops across into the box. It's cleared, but only as far as McKenna. And now Grosso. Bowen over the head of all in the penalty area. Torpy following it out to the right and, well, trying to win a corner off Beattie Goad, but couldn't do so. And Teresa, we're going to take another look at the chance here for Melbourne City.
The ball's come in there and glanced over to Torpy, and she's taken the volley, but easily cleared by the victory there.
Grosso. You saw Policina asking for the return pass. It gets there eventually. Galich. And now Torpy again, skimming off the crossbar. And the right wing back, who really knows how to pick her moments to get forward, is saying there was a deflection, doesn't get the corner, and so it's flush off the crossbar and out.
She's really busy at the moment, Caitlin Torpy. Here's another chance from her. Great strike there, and tips off the top of that crossbar.
Beattie Goad was right there stride for stride, but Torpy sliding into the shot. Really improvised technique there to get that shot away.
It was really good for the situation she was in and falling too. So, look, this is the time of the match that Caitlin Torpy can overrun everyone. So she's obviously enjoying, you know, the tired legs of everyone else and having a few opportunities.
Speaking of that stamina, here goes Grosso again. Both wing-backs really starting to be prominent for Melbourne City now. Policina stops to a walk. Brings Wilkinson, the sub, into play. Shouts for offside, not heeded. Wilkinson conjuring across over the head of Galich and bending out for a goal kick. Talk about young players. We've speculated about how many minutes in the legs for McNamara. It's up to 65 now. How many minutes in the legs for Daniela Galich? 17th appearance of the season for the teenager. There's never been an A-League women's season this long. See the XG just about bang on, but don't forget you get 0.8 for a penalty, so Melbourne City have certainly created more in open play than Melbourne Victory have. Victory subs are all up and warming up, just the staff remaining seated for now. Ayres is lurking, Checker, not taking any risks, just clears high, long and out. So that Victory bench, Teresa, Gemma Simon, Maya Markovski, Leah Privatelli, and the one-game teenager, Rosie Curtis. Come back to you with your thoughts in a moment as Nash puts a cross in, and Eliadis willed herself onto the ball, but couldn't steer the header goalwards. Another little bit of something out of nothing.
That was a brilliant diving header from Tiff Eliadis. The cross came in nice and flat for her, and if there's a player that's going to throw herself at anything, it's Tiff Eliadis, trying to make something from nothing.
There was a big gap at the near post there that Melissa Barbieri had left open, but Eliadis, that's a tough header to steer goals.
Really tough header to steer there, and she wasn't too far off there, but had the right idea.
City really looking shaky, trying to play out from the back. It's come unstuck. Murphy. Ayres! Melbourne Victory have turned it around, and it's on the back of their star striker, Melina Ayres! And if there was a textbook goal that City have coughed up this season, they tied themselves up in knots playing out from the back, and Melina Ayres made them pay.
She definitely made them pay. What a finish. The ball landed right to her feet, and she wasn't closed down quick enough. You cannot give a player like Melina Ayres that amount of time and space to finish on goal like that. What a finish. And what a comeback from Melbourne Victory.
Melina Ayres, yeah, it's a fired-up celebration for goal number 11 of the campaign. And who knows, maybe it was Melina Ayres having a word to Jeff Hopkins at the start of the second half saying, watch the Melina Ayres show, here's your front row seat, you're welcome.
She has come out on fire.
And so this game has turned around. We said 14% win rate when a team falls behind in finals. Just 6 out of 43 have ever come from behind to win. I hate to say it for Melbourne City fans, one of them was last year's qualifying final when they coughed up that 2-0 lead and went down 4-2 in extra time to Sydney FC.
And speaking of odds, Teo, if there's a team that can beat the odds, it's Victory. They've done it time and time again, and right now they're in the driver's seat to do it again. Incredible.
Sideline, Neve Owens, sum it up for us.
Teo, I'm sitting next to Elise Kellon-Knight, who was up and about, let me tell you, when that second goal was scored. KK, you spoke to Melina Ayres as she headed back out onto the pitch. What did you say to her?
Just a couple of words, just simple. Shoot on sight, get the ball and have a shot. She's done that for us.
And in wet conditions, Teo, it is working a treat so far.
Thank you, Neve. Thank you to Elise Kellon-Knight as well. Injured and recovering Matilda and Melbourne Victory player. Here's Daniela Galich. Now the gauntlet is thrown down to Melbourne City. Do they have a response in them? Beatty Goad. Denied possession here. Torpy, amazing to think, hit the crossbar not that long ago. It could have been City back in front. Instead, they trail. Katie Bowen busy protesting to the referee, and now the referee, Lara Lee, is going to book Katie Bowen for dissent. So first yellow card for a Melbourne City player, just the second of the game, and Katie Bowen has talked her way into the referee's book.
She has, and that's pure frustration, and I think it started when Victory were rewarded that penalty, and she hasn't been able to shake it. So that there just goes to show how frustrated Katie Bowen is, and all the momentum at the moment's with Melbourne Victory.
Is that worth it to try and get in the referee's head with only 20 minutes to go, or is that a 29-year-old 80-plus cap international just losing discipline?
Yeah, I think it's losing discipline. If you haven't won the ref over now, you're not going to, and obviously, you know, it's not the first time she's spoken to the ref. So out comes the card.
So as we... Barbieri and Emma Checker. Again, there seems to be confusion because Melbourne Victory have pressed right up to the edge of the penalty area. How much do they trust their style to break through? Torpy's going to make it work here. And now Wilkinson has got Policina in the middle, but that pass certainly not to Policina's advantage. Just Jess Nash right into her space, but the giveaway means there's an opportunity for City to advance. McKenna. And now Bowen. And she put her focus back on the ball, back on the game for City's cause. It's a little bit static ahead of the ball at the moment for City. Bowen to Grosso. Think back to the chance Grosso had, shooting it straight at Casey Dumont. Now McNamara working back to goal with it all to do. Bowen, Grosso's free. Can she measure the right cross? Hits it low. Bowen shooting, blocked by Nash. And the young defender, Jessica Nash, just 18 years old. Not her finest pass, giving the ball back to Grosso. McNamara with it all to do. McNamara, we know she can shoot from this distance. Opts against, goes to Galich, and Galich did not hit it right. And Teresa, we're going to have a look at the circumstances that led to the goal. This was chaotic playing out from the back, and Melbourne City, with their own worst enemy, it's not like we haven't seen it coming. I feel like we've discussed this on Dub Zone most Saturdays this season.
Yeah, we have it, and if you remember the high press in the first half from Victory, it rattled City. And they high pressed again, rattled them, won the ball and scored. And they've continued to do it now.
Checker, Ayres for a hat-trick! A shallow clearance, and who was there? Who was looming? Who was scoring? Melina Ayres is becoming inevitable. The defending champions say not just yet. They are less than 20 minutes away from progressing.
And the ball comes across from Beattie Goad. Emma Checker couldn't deal well with it. She didn't get a convincing clearance on it. And who does it land to? Melina Ayres. She read that. She knew where the ball was going, and she's not going to miss from there. What a finish.
Melina Ayres joins the most exclusive of clubs. Players who've scored hat-tricks in finals. Sam Kerr and Melina Ayres. Not a bad duo.
Not a bad duo at all.
And Melbourne City, this is extraordinary. Emma Checker is being subbed off for Briley Henry, is it? Or is it McNamara? They put up the 15 on the board. Yep. And the captain's armband is handed over to Rihanna Policina. Emma Checker is coming off centre-back, off for a winger. And has a word to the coach. I mean, it's clearly a tactical switch, but you can't help but think that perhaps Checker's role in a couple of the goals might have been a factor here as Briley Henry comes on.
Well, look, we're in the 73rd minute. You're 3-1 down in a final. You have to make an attacking change now. And obviously Checker's not happy. She's the captain of the team, and you know, you don't want to be coming off as the captain. You want to be relied upon. So those are what the words were probably there. Why have you taken me off? But City needed an attacking change. There's nothing to lose now. This is it.
Well, I'll be intrigued as to where Katie Bowen, has gone into the centre of defence. So it's not like they're completely sacrificing a defender. I think it's positional reshuffles for quite a few players here, but it could potentially leave more gaps, especially given that now they're going to be committing more numbers forward.
That's right, Teo, but this is the risk they've got to take. There's nothing to lose here. This is it after this. So whatever happens, they need that attacking player now.
And Henry, the substitute, is involved immediately, but can't advance the ball back to Chinema. A more positive pass this time Torpy knocked off the ball. Galich is there. Oh, it's extraordinary. You think back, Julia Grosso had that shot saved by Casey Dumont. That could have been 2-0. Caitlin Torpy could have made it 2-1 to Melbourne City, hitting the crossbar. And there has been a flurry of victory goals since then.
I'm shaking my head in amazement, Teo. What a game we have today.
This is going to make it 200 passes, the difference between the two teams. But you said it in the first half. There's a lot of possession that doesn't mean a great deal.
It doesn't at all, Teo. It's what you do with it, where that possession is. And at the end of the day, it's whoever scores more goals. And Melina Ayres has taken all her chances today.
Is there a risk of a victory mental switch off here with a 2-goal buffer?
I don't think so. I think there's more of a risk of this game blowing out.
Here's Bowen through the left flank. Bowen deflected cross. Claudia Bunge able to keep her balance and just puts the ball behind. Casey Dumont encouraging a defence.
I think City are rattled here. We can see the attack there. Bowen's gone up, but Victory are equal to the task here. And if City don't get their heads in this now, this game could blow out.
Here's the corner. Bunge defending with the feet, defending with the head. McKenna back into the mixer. Wilkinson physical. Policina against Murphy. Who's going to prevail? Policina's got the ball, and Bunge has nicked it behind yet again. Another corner. Victory stay down in their defensive area, but they've had the answers in this second half. Eavesdropping in on Casey Dumont and the Victory defence. Kayla Morrison trying to organise them here. The corner kick is hoping for Wilkinson, but Morrison up to win the header. Had front position and rose effectively. Galich. Henry turning the sub. And then Torpy. Ball back out to the flank, and the assistant referee is flagging. It's a foul by Briley Henry. So Melbourne City, their other remaining subs. Chelsea Blissett, a left-sided defender. Isabella Ricardo, more of a centre-back. So you suspect that unless there's an injury or a player is completely exhausted, this might be the 11 that Dario Vidizic is hoping can find 13 minutes of magic right here.
It's a big mountain to climb for City at the moment.
That was Isabella Ricardo there warming up, so you never know, they might have to make a sub. There might be a player that's been struggling in the heavy conditions. Let's not forget, Holly McNamara has now gone 77 minutes here. Given away. Murphy, shoot on sight. We heard that was the instruction that at least Kellon Knight gave to Melina Ayres, but Alana Murphy heating it there as well.
Yeah, not a bad effort. Why not? They've got a 2-goal buffer at the moment. They're comfortable in this game.
Grosso, McKenna, Bowen. It's all happening in a very forced fashion here for Melbourne City. They can't find any fluency in their movement. Policina goes to ground and is able to draw a foul from Murphy. And again, the tall target of Hannah Wilkinson is probably where they'll be looking to just roost the ball. Still will take a pretty good strike from this distance, so they play it quickly here, Melbourne City. Just doesn't seem to be many gaps opening up for them. McKenna was clever, made a gap where there wasn't one and nearly threaded through Policina as Bunge puts the ball out for a throw.
They're just very stagnant at the moment. Those gaps open up when players move.
McNamara leaves the ball with Grosso. Grosso hits the cross. Henry's there. Policina's there! And it's game back on! 2 for Rihanna Policina. And tensions, it is a derby, will be heightened here. The goal counts though. And Melbourne City, they are back within the odd goal, and they've got more than 10 minutes to play with.
Plenty of time. That ball came in. And it just dropped, and the Victory players were sort of looking at that ball. No one went for it, but who's there? The player that always continues her run into the box. Rihanna Policina made no mistake, great finish, and what an end to the game we have.
Well, it was just too forcefully struck for Casey Dumont, and even though it went over the head of Hannah Wilkinson, it was the little nod back in from Briley Henry. It probably goes down as an assist, and Rihanna Polacina hits double figures for the season. Melbourne City have made a sub. Isabella Ricardo has come on for Daniela Galich. So we did talk during the half about how many minutes in the legs for the 16-year-old, and well, she's been replaced by the 17-year-old Izzy Ricardo, who comes on with a job to do in midfield.
So Holly McNamara still on the pitch, maybe heading towards 90 today.
Well, 3-2 the current score. Do Victory now have the nerve to hold on? Do they have the quality to score a fourth, perhaps? You wouldn't put it past them. Jeff Hopkins is yet to turn to his bench. We suspect that situation is going to change very shortly. We're into the last 10 minutes. What a fun last 10 minutes we could have coming up. And the interim captain from last season, Leah Privatelli, who hoisted the trophy at the end of the season, she's going to come on as the finisher here.
An experienced substitute in Leah Privatelli. She can come on and change a game, and she's shown she can score goals when her team needs.
City, Grosso, you've got to give Grosso and Torpy credit as two players that never dropped their heads. They've played with real belief, even as the goals were flying in at the other end.
They really have, Teo. They've driven this City team today. They have not stopped.
And now McNamara. How much gas is left in the tank for her? Bowen, McKenna, calling for the ball. An aggressive pass. Polacina's on a hat-trick of her own, don't forget. Trying to join that Kerr Ayres club. And now Victory will turn to their bench. Leah Privatelli is coming on, and it's going to be Catherine Zimmerman, who has done a lot of running and a lot of work, but just hasn't had the looks at goal that she would have hoped for today. But fresh legs come on in the form of Privatelli.
Yeah, she's worked so hard off the ball, mostly the things we don't see. Great shift from Zimmerman, and time to unleash Privatelli, who's got fresh legs. And like I said, she's shown she can score at the right time for her team.
Big Blues, Melbourne Derbies, finals matches. Leah Privatelli doesn't have the most prolific scoring record, 8 in 80, but she's a player for the big occasion. Her only goal this season was in a Big Blue.
That's all that matters, Teo.
So a fourth for Melbourne Victory. You'd think it'd be too tall in order for City, but as long as it remains 3-2, game in the balance, it'd be a counter comeback. Let's not forget City scored first, then Victory were up 3-1. And now it's Melbourne City trying to find a comeback of their own. It's been exactly the sort of topsy-turvy, action-packed game that has made this competition so utterly compelling this season. And now a long ball from McKenna, asking a question of Nash. Eliadis moves the ball on quickly and was clattered. And so even though Melissa Barbieri is out to clear, Ricardo has been blown up for the foul.
Here's the foul on Eliadis. Definitely late and dangerous there from the side. Studs up. She's lucky not to have collected a yellow there.
Well, you think back to the Amy Jackson challenge earlier in the half, which we suspect could have on a different day been a second yellow. The referees certainly erred on the side of leniency with some of these big calls. Still, I don't think it's affected the game as a spectacle whatsoever. You'd have to say that it's been, even for a few quibbles here and there, a well-refereed game, because the game itself has been really entertaining. And here's Ayres trying to score a fourth. That one is shanked over to Privatelli. The attack still goes for Victory. Blocked by Grosso. Privatelli gives possession away to McNamara. McNamara holds off Privatelli. Ironed out by Amy Jackson. And again, McNamara is saying, is there a card? But I think it's the initial foul from Privatelli that's been paid first.
Yeah, you can see the ref pointing to the initial point of contact for the free kick, but Holly McNamara, she was away. Here's that first foul. The referee let it go, and then she was fouled again by no other than Amy Jackson.
Well, does Jeff Hopkins have to think about subbing Amy Jackson before she... it's a wet and slippery day. It could be a complete accident that ends up seeing her shown a second yellow card out there.
Yeah, I guess if he hasn't had words already, certainly needs to give her a reminder. Not that she should need one.
It's the only issue for Victory is they just don't have a like-for-like player on the bench. Gemma Simon's a fullback. Rosie Curtis would be playing her second game, and Maya Markovsky is a centre forward. So I don't think they're going to take off Amy Jackson and give up 20 years and 140 games of experience to bring on Rosie Curtis unless it's absolutely necessary.
Exactly, Tayo. You just can't take a player like Amy Jackson off. That experience is just so vital in a game like today. So the talking to will have to suffice.
Bit of bash and crash in midfield. Neither team able to keep the ball for more than a pass or two at a time. Grosso wants a teammate. Out to Policina, has had the scoring touch for City today. Back to Grosso. Grosso feeds it out to McNamara now. McNamara, the cut in, the shot, the bender! And Casey Dumont was at full stretch, but the shot went wide. And Hannah Wilkinson is berating the assistant referee, saying there was a touch and it was a corner, but it will only be a goal kick.
And this Victory block are so hard to break down at the moment that it means Holly McNamara, she'll have to take shots from the edge of the box there. We've seen her shoot from there and score, so that was a good shot there. It's just gone wide, and
Grosso thought it was in.
In fact, it looked like there was a tip there.
Well, if it was fingertips or not, it's a goal kick, the result. Grosso is trying to single-handedly now drag Melbourne City back level in this game. Feeds it out to McNamara once again. 4 minutes of regulation to go. McNamara hits the byline, lifts it across with a deflection. Henry is there. Accardo is there. And the referee's whistle blows play dead. And in amongst this chaos, Neve Owens, what a finish we've got going on right now.
What a cracking game of football, Tayo. We've got coaches from both sides up. Jeff Hopkins absolutely willing his team. He's shouting, no shots, no shots. And the City bench a moment ago really calling for that corner. KK was having a conversation earlier about Amy Jackson, whether there are other ways that she knows how to play now that she's on a yellow. What are your thoughts?
I mean, she's got to be careful, but if you know AJ, she's got one mode. So, I mean, you see that she's in and she's out. So I think she's going to hang in there, but she has to have a bit of sense about her.
And we can hear Jeff Hopkins on the sideline, Tayo, trying to organise his troops, saying stay organised, stay calm. It is going to be a cracking end to this contest.
Thank you, Neve. Thank you, Elise. 3 minutes of regulation to go. How many minutes of stoppage? Melbourne City chasing their season. Melbourne Victory trying to keep their title defence going. The dream of the three-peat alive. Torpy. Back to Bowen. Now Henry inside for McKenna. McKenna finds Policina. Policina with space to exploit. Building ahead of steam. Here's McNamara. McNamara jags left. McNamara! Penalty! Handball! City will go to the spot to equalise. And there's a yellow card straight out of the pocket for Leah Privatelli for the back chat. But this is high drama. It's a spot kick.
The drama, Tayo, I'm on the edge of my seat. What a finish to this game. It was a beautiful attack here from City, and Holly McNamara, she's just so good one-on-one. Gets a dangerous ball across, and handball. A handball's a handball. Good call from the ref.
Trailing arm from Claudia Bunge. McNamara, let's have another look. Yeah, it's the right hand, the trailing arm that's blocked the cross. Great camera angle showing us the infringement, and it's McNamara herself that steps up. Casey Dumont, the only goalkeeper to have won 2 penalty shootouts in the history of the A-League Women's. If ever there was a spot kick that needed to be saved, it was now. McNamara, saved by Dumont! And on the big stage, it's Casey Dumont that knows how to get it done.
She does, Tayo. From my own experience, I know that Casey Dumont is the best shot stopper when it comes to penalties. She read that perfectly.
Into the last minute of regulation. City not done yet. Wilkinson just wide. They can't drop their heads. They can still grab an equaliser. They've still got the minutes to work with.
Unbelievable save here from Casey Dumont. Brilliant.
And I don't want to open old wounds, Teresa, but when you say you speak from experience, Casey Dumont saved a penalty from you in a shootout in 2012. You've been there. You know what it's like to face this very goalkeeper.
I do, and it's not fun. She knows what she's doing. She tries to read the way that you're going to kick the ball, which does mess with your mentality as well. So good at it.
Well, and as far as the placement from McNamara, it wasn't exactly in the corner. It was a very savable penalty, but City have to wipe the slate clean, have to keep attacking. They're about to find out how many minutes of stoppage time, and Melbourne Victory will bring it in with a goal kick. 7 minutes, and you hear the rumours and the groans among the crowd. Plenty of time
here, Teo.
Plenty of time.
But
Yes, plenty of time. Well, we're all thinking the same thing, and as a player out there, what does that do to your mindset, knowing that it's not next attack or you go home, you can actually build to something out there?
Look, in my time, we never really got stoppage time of 7 minutes. So as a City player, I'd be happy. Victory, it's going to go very, very slowly for them. They need to focus here. They need their leaders to drive this team now.
Do they bring on Gemma Simon or Maya Markovsky as a time-wasting sub?
Yes. They're two experienced players to bring on that can settle the game and can waste time.
No movement on the bench just yet from Jeff Hopkins. Might wait until a few more of the allocated 7 have expired. 1 down, 6 to go for Victory. Caitlin Torpey. A missed clearance. Wilkinson was going out for a corner. Wilkinson kept it in regardless. Henry lifts in across. Nash up for the header, gets it away. Only as far as McKenna. Block tackle at the edge of the area. And now fed out to Briley Henry again from a standing start. Accardo. Flag stays down. It's Izzy Accardo. Oh, it could have gone in for an own goal with a deflection like that, but fortunately for Tatham, just a corner kick.
I was waiting for the flag to go up there, Teo, but Izzy Accardo did really well to stay on side for a youngster in that situation.
Policina to take the corner. Wilkinson planted right in the middle of the 6-yard box. Here comes Policina, hangs it high, it's up for grabs. Dumont leads with the fist. Bowen on the turn. Did it catch a deflection? I think the City player reactions tell you that it did not. It's a goal kick, and 2 of the 7 minutes have ticked by.
And Casey Dumont will take her time here. She did well to punch that away and landed to Katie Bowen, who, oof, not too far off there. We did think that it took a deflection, but no, she skewed it wide.
Has not scored an A-League women's goal this season, Katie Bowen. There are so many players that, if ever they've dreamed of being the hero, right now it's Casey Dumont who is. Melina Ayres with a hat-trick for Melbourne Victory. City need a hero of their own. Bowen to McNamara. Hasn't dropped the head after the penalty was saved. Hits the crossfield pass onto the head of Tatham. McNamara follows up again. Now Torpey. Just need to think, where's Julia Grosso? She's the player that's been driving them forward. Here she is, Grosso, the American. Stops and props. Now Policina. Victory with numbers back in the penalty area. Not many gaps to work with. And the ball is scooped away. Only as far as McKenna. Now Grosso, back to McKenna. It's Letitia McKenna. They were inviting her to shoot. Privatelli with a full-length lunge. And now Goad commits to the ball. And the Victory fans make themselves heard, because every little half effort like that makes such a difference.
They do, and City have sent all their numbers forward now, so it's only going to take a breakaway for Victory to get another goal.
And that long diagonal pass finds its way out. Half of 7 minutes stoppage has expired. Nat Tatham drives the ball, takes a few extra seconds off the clock, and then throws it long down the line. McKenna. It's just attack and repel right now. Eliadis whips the ball away. You see Jeff Hopkins, he doesn't want his team to give up on the counter-attack. He wants to make sure there's just someone there to keep them accountable in the other direction. Otherwise, it becomes a half-field game for these last few minutes. Here's Grosso. Cutting in, then cutting out. Still Julia Grosso. Doesn't see a pass that she likes ahead of the ball, so concedes ground back to Bowen. Daniela Galich on the bench, so stressed out. Can't affect the game now. Here's McKenna. Hurried back to Chinema. And now Torpy. Torpy slipped it as the pass was played. And Morrison is there to just drive it clear, and it bounces on the halfway line as it goes out. Jeff Hopkins with a shout for every kick of the ball out there. Goad with a challenge. Down the line it goes. McKenna. Wilkinson against Morrison. And it's the captain, Kayla Morrison, who gets it away.
Jeff Hopkins probably just rallying his side to keep a bit of possession in this situation. It's so hard. There's so much pressure on in this moment.
2 more minutes, plus however generous the referee is feeling. It has rained relentlessly for the entire second half. It's a day and a final that none of these players are going to forget. But you want to remember occasions like this because you are on the winning team. Eliadis crashes in on McKenna, and a yellow card is perhaps just the cost of doing business here. And McKenna, if that's a cramp or perhaps just a bruise, she's got to shake it off and keep playing.
That was a very cynical challenge there from Eliadis, and definitely a yellow card there, and time is ticking as a result.
A minute 10, Policina. McNamara has played a full 90 and then some. Knocked to the ground here, play continues. The ball is booted out. The City bench protest, but they've got less than 60 seconds to play with now. If they paid the free kick, they have. So Wilkinson again, the obvious target. Can they create havoc in the penalty area one last time? Melbourne City, Casey Dumont. Will she need to make one last save? Letitia McKenna is the player entrusted with the free kick. Here it comes from McKenna. Jackson leans into the header and gets it away. Last chance saloon now for Melbourne City. Their season hanging by a thread. Nash's clearance shanked out towards the line. Bowen says, I'll take the throw. McKenna. Grosso, if a player was going to make it happen, maybe her. Bowen. Wilkinson wants the ball in the mixer. Up it goes. Headed away once again. Torpy with a shot. Deflected. Wilkinson's there! Wilkinson's there! And Melbourne City are level! At the very, very last! Remember where you were. You won't forget this one. It's 3-3.
3-3 right on the 7th minute. What a follow-up here from Hannah Wilkinson. She didn't give up. She timed it perfectly and got that over Casey Dumont, of all people. What a finish.
And a huge call for the assistant referee. I mean, it's just not a common-looking passage of play. It deflected off Kayla Morrison, so you'd have to say that the high loop, it was okay. And after the penalty was saved in the 89th minute, salvation arrives, and Holly McNamara, look at poor Casey Dumont there with stacks on the mill next to her for all the Melbourne City players, and Jeff Hopkins, he'll be sick to his stomach.
I'm lost for words, Teo, but all I can say is the happiest person on that pitch would be Holly McNamara, I think.
So we've got a minute beyond the allocated 7. Ayres just shoots from kickoff. You never know your luck in the city of Casey. And if you are enjoying this game, I've got some good news for you. We've got extra time coming up for 30 more minutes. Don't go anywhere. And if you have a group chat, tell your friends, get it on Paramount Plus and watch the Liberty A-League, because this game, the twists and the turns, we are guaranteed to have just the 7th come-from-behind winner in the history of the final series, because both teams did it inside a crazy 90 minutes, which ends at Casey Fields in the rain. Melbourne City 3, Melbourne Victory 3. Teresa Polias, you were already bouncing off the edge of your seat. That was before the equaliser. You look speechless. Put it into words.
I can't. The adrenaline running in me at the moment reminds me of the feeling you get on the pitch out there. This is incredibly fun for us as viewers and fans, but I don't think it's so fun for the players out there. But what a nail-biting game we have. This is brilliant.
Elise Kellon-Knight and Neve Owens are on the sideline. Neve, take it away.
Teo, what an incredible second half we had. KK, as we approached the final whistle there, you were nervous. You talked about a draw. There was a real sense of deja vu.
I knew it was going to happen. Like, Melbourne victory draws game, so it was no doubt going to happen. But if you look at our last game against Wellington, we've had complete deja vu in the last minute of the game. Casey comes out and the attacking player nips in front. So unfortunate events, but exciting football, great for spectating.
From a second half perspective, it felt like Victory came out with so much energy, so much aggression. They had a bit more ball and they certainly created more with their opportunities. What does that mean in terms of the balance of who goes into extra time feeling the more confident now? Or with 30 minutes left to play, is it just start afresh?
Yeah, I mean, the game's just been like a pendulum back and forward. There's been no real team that's dominated, and I think going into the extra time it'll be a different game again. Melbourne City really pushed at the end there, and I don't know if they're going to take that same momentum in. Maybe they come out with a different tactic.
Now, KK, I know you can't actually see a screen right now in this weather, but we're going to have a look back at Melina Ayres' goals. She scored 3 of them in the second half, the first from the penalty spot. She's such a confidence-based player, isn't she? And we could really see that confidence soar in the second half.
Yeah, she came out with a lot of confidence. Unfortunately, we don't have a screen to watch them back, but we know what she's capable of, and she's really shown that today, and it was great to see, and I'm proud of her. I had a little chat to her at half-time and said, come on, like, positivity, shoot on sight, you've got this, and I'm happy she went out.
We've seen 2 absolute guns in action, haven't we? In Melina Ayres, in Rihanna Pollicino, who scored a brace herself. Heading into extra time, how do you see this playing out?
I have no idea, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't be putting a bet on. It could go any way. I have a feeling it's going to go to penalties, but, I mean, with wet conditions, it might be a little bit of a mistake that separates the 2 teams, but we'll see what happens.
And if we do end up at pens, Teo, we've got a couple of cracking goalkeepers for both sides, so there is a whole heap of football left here at Casey Fields.
Is there ever? Neve, thank you. KK, thank you. Teresa Polias, we've had a chance to catch our breath. The observation there from Elise Kellon-Knight, it was a very similar situation to the Wellington equaliser 2 weeks ago, and Melbourne Victory, that familiar sinking feeling of conceding in the 98th minute.
Exactly, Teo, and hence why we thought this game could get into extra time and eventually penalties.
And so, who do you think resets mentally better? Victory have got a lot of yellow cards to their team out there. We've spoken at length about some of the hefty challenges and the risks that have been taken. Victory have got a few more subs up their sleeve. Melbourne City, they subbed off Emma Checker. It looks, I mean, Briley Henry hasn't been hugely prominent, but did get one of the assists that got them back in the game. So you'd have to say that was a winning move too. Absolutely,
great super sub there. And, you know, in terms of who's in the better mind frame now, I'd say it's City, given that they just scored. Victory had it, they had it. They were so close, and that's a soul destroyer, that one. So they need to pick themselves up fast now.
And the assistant referee here, Lauren Hargrave, is just holding up the kickoff here because there is an issue with the net. This game has been played in heavy wind, in heavy rain. We've seen the crossbar hit a number of times. We've seen a lot of rough and tumble at set pieces and corner kicks. And, well, they need Costa Barbarousis and a roll of tape because that net has come loose and needs to be re-affixed to the goal frame.
Yeah, this game's had almost everything. It's been an absolute cracker today, and the next half hour, no doubt, will be the same. And
there's the match commissioner, Adam Mark. No one patrols and polices better than him, and he'll be making sure that this gets fixed up ASAP. If anything, this additional little breather here, are they going to... Looks as though Lara Lee's getting ready to kick off here, so they might just YOLO it here, Teresa.
It's looking like they will.
Yep, they're going to kick the game back off. So, underway. Start of extra time. 3-3 after 90 minutes. Teresa, would you dare predict which way this might go?
Oh, it's a tough one, Teo, but I think we'll go to penalties.
Just 6 games have gone to penalties in the history of the W League and A-League Women's out of 43 finals. None since 2016. It's been more than 7 years. Here's Eliadis looking to start extra time with a bang, and Melissa Barbieri holds on. Take us inside Dario Vidisic's huddle. His team is the one that's come back. They've got all the momentum. They were the ones charging at the end. Are they able to replicate that now that the game is back on level pegging?
Well, the good thing is, Teo, they ended with momentum. So it's all about riding that momentum now and, you know, letting his players know, look what you just did. You've come from behind at the death. This is your game now. So hopefully they go out and continue that momentum and enjoy some confidence.
As we see Briley Henry here challenging Jessica Nash. Henry able to win possession. Swings across to Policina, who, don't forget, has 2 goals on a hat-trick. McKenna back to Policina. Fancies the shot from distance, Policina. And it's both goalkeepers tested in just the first minute 20 of extra time.
Both goalkeepers have stood up today. They've been so resolute back there. Here's a shot from Policina in a good area for her. And a good save from Casey Dumont in tough conditions.
Tatham back to Kayla Morrison. Flick header on by Melina Ayres. A hat-trick already to her name, but how many minutes in those legs too? So many decisions that coaches, you might make a contingency plan for them, but until it happens and until it's thrust upon you, it becomes that much more difficult.
It's so complex, and now they've got a shootout to have in the back of their mind. So as this game goes on, coaches will be thinking about who their 5 shot takers are going to be.
Katie Bowen, one of the players that's also on a yellow card, talked her way into the book. Just wonder how costly that might be if it comes back to bite. Beattie Goad. Goad back to Amy Jackson. And now Morrison. Melissa Barbieri. If there's someone who can shout for the full 2 hours, it's Bubs. Have no fear about that. Chinema. City happy to knock the ball around. If there's one team that will be comfortable owning the ball, using the clock to their advantage now that they're not chasing the game, it is Melbourne City.
It absolutely is. Whether it's controlling possession to run down that clock or to dictate play and pick their moments and capitalise and score, it's City's game.
Here's Briley Henry with a shot and a good save by Dumont. And Henry, one of the subs, really looking to push that across the keeper, and Dumont at full strength palmed it away.
Great palm away, and then she's giving orders to her troops. She's not happy that Briley Henry's been able to get that shot away. She was a fresh sub. There's tired legs out there, and Briley Henry is taking advantage of that.
Of course, it was a huge gamble at the time. It was Emma Checker off, Briley Henry on. Henry who got the assist for Rihanna Policina's second goal. Here's the corner from Policina. McNamara's flying. Here's McKenna, blocked away by Tatham. Really important from the Victory defender to make sure that didn't catch a deflection. And that she hit the entire ball, stopped it in its tracks. Here's Policina. McKenna again. It's taken until extra time for Letitia McKenna to back herself from long range. We know that she has a couple of long bombs to her name this season, as we see a ball bending in here, and McNamara, that was always going to be a tall order to chase it down.
City just looking fresh almost. I think that goal, that late equaliser, really took it out of Victory. Here's that cross in from Torpy, which just kicked on, and that's that wet surface.
Victory's turn to look a little iffy at the back. Wilkinson creating a presence. Victory getting a double substitution ready. I can't believe it. The 17-year-old Rosie Curtis has got the tactical book out here and is being spoken to by Melissa Maisels, one of the assistant coaches. What a situation to be thrown into for your second game.
Amazing stuff, but it's great that the Victory staff are backing their youngster, and, you know, fresh legs are like gold at this point in the game.
And that might be the reasoning. Just a quick audit of who's on a yellow card. Katie Bowen for Melbourne City, Tiff Eliadis, Amy Jackson and Leah Privatelli for Melbourne Victory. And we have spoken so much about Jackson. Maybe now that it's Jackson and Eliadis, that's just tipped the balance and they might need to sacrifice one of them here. Curtis, who was named as an unused sub a handful of times before finally getting her debut a couple of weeks ago. The youngster had and the Eltham Redbacks via the FE Talented Player Program. I guess this is where names are made, big finals, big situations.
They are, and just on those possible changes there, when you're on a yellow card and you're playing extra time, you're fatigued, and when you're fatigued, your decision-making can dip, so that can put you at risk of making another bad tackle, so potentially one of those players on a yellow might have to make way.
Bowen, Kiwi link up here with Wilkinson, cutting back in, good footwork. Accardo now. He's really stood up since coming on Izzy Accardo. Grosso, now McKenna. Henry, referee still as a statue. A City play around. And now Accardo, the cutback. Henry, heard a shout. And it's Grosso driving it into Bunge, who's winded by the ball. Jeff Hopkins urging his defence to press up. No time to draw breath for Claudia Bunge. She's back to her feet. And Beattie Goad has got the ball away. And after the defence was able to stand their ground, they put back under pressure again. Morrison, set a big task into a 50-50 for Murphy, but she prevailed. And now through comes Bowen, really stepping up when City need her. Bowen flicks it to Policina. And Murphy was able to interrupt. You see McNamara's down in the foreground. Here's the shot from Bowen. It's wide. And now the trainer's attention will turn to Holly McNamara here. You see the shin guard's been knocked around the side of the leg and might just be a cramp. We can only hope, of course, for Holly McNamara, who's had such a cursed run with injuries over the course of her career.
Could be a cramp, Teo. She hasn't played this many minutes in a very long time, or could be from that contact with Alana Murphy moments ago.
Beattie Goad comes off for Gemma Simon, and we did flag that a player on a yellow card might have to make way. It's Tiff Eliadis who comes off for the second game of Rosie Curtis. Neve Owens down on the sidelines. Let's check in with you.
We've just seen Rosie Curtis, the 17-year-old, take the field for Melbourne Victory. KK has been training with the squad. It's a big opportunity for a young player.
Yeah, she's been with us the whole season. She's only just getting minutes towards the end of the season now, but she's been a really good talent that we've had in the squad, and it's awesome to see a young player coming through, and it's a big occasion, like finally coming onto the field in a semi-final. What else do you want?
What a moment.
Yeah, no pressure or anything. No, I hope she enjoys herself. That's the main thing. She's perfectly capable. She's been training and playing at the level, so let's see what she can do.
Looking forward to it, Teo.
As we see Chittimer here pressing up to Torpy. Torpy scoops it into the box. Wilkinson against Bunge. Two players that would have been training against each other in New Zealand international camps for years now. Will know each other's games inside out. The other end of the experience scale, let's not forget Gemma Simon, who's making just her 5th appearance of an injury-hit season, coming on for game 146, the 32-year-old. She has been there and done it in finals, in big occasions. And we're hearing from the sideline that Holly McNamara's afternoon, which has gone incredibly, 98 minutes of regulation, and then another 9 minutes of injury time, is finally going to come to an end. But I guess any doubts over her ability to go the 90 have been more or less answered today.
They have. She's put in an amazing shift today and proven that she's well and truly back to her best.
Here's Henry. Looking to break the lines, Briley Henry. Jessica Nash steered it back. Here's McKenna now. And that one is high and wide and not worrying. Casey Dumont in the victory goal frame. And so the board goes up. Chelsea Blissett will come on here. It's not quite a like for like, so this might lead to quite a bit of positional reshuffling here. Maybe they'll leave Blissett in the front three. It has been done. But McNamara comes off and, well, she'll be relieved because her penalty miss, a penalty that she won, has not come back to cost Melbourne City in the end.
She'll be very relieved, and at the moment City have control of the game. And there's that contact with Alana Murphy, which is what I think was troubling her in the end.
Yeah, right on the shin, really hard 50-50. Didn't take a backward step though. So 10 minutes of the first half of extra time have ticked by. 5 minutes until the change of ends, and then 15 more. Gaps are going to start opening up, Teresa. We're going to see some exhausted players out there.
We are, Teo, and hopefully those couple of subs for victory help them to retain a bit of possession and control the game a bit more, because City are just coming at them wave after wave.
They were 3-1 down, Melbourne City. They certainly had chances. They had a chance for 2-0. They had a chance for 2-1. And then Melina Ayres went bang, bang, bang and scored a hat-trick. Only for City to engineer a comeback of their own.
And I know we spoke about how the possession stat can often mean nothing, but in a finals game when you can go into extra time, it certainly helps a team like City who had more possession earlier in the game because they're looking fresher.
Grosso to the sub Blissett, the most recent entrant to the game. Trying to defend from the front here against Privatelli. Nash. And in comes Accardo. So City have brought on all 4 of their outfielders that were on the bench. Blissett, Wilkinson, Accardo and Henry. Melbourne Victory have brought on Privatelli, Curtis and Gemma Simon. Still Maya Markovski waiting in the wings if needed. Of course, there is one thing Maya Markovski's done very well in her A-League women's career, Teresa, and that is take penalties.
Yeah, she enjoys a penalty. She's certainly very self-confident when it comes to taking them. So she could well and truly be in that 5.
I wonder, is she just being kept on ice? There is one player who knows all about being a specialist penalty taker in finals. It's our very own colleague, Grace Gill. Might remember last time Melbourne Victory went to penalties was back in 2014 down at Cardinia Park in Geelong, and Grace Gill was actually subbed on for the penalty shootout in that game, which Canberra won and Victory lost. And then we will mention the grand final where Grace Gill took a penalty and had it saved, but Canberra still won the championship, so all's well that ends well. There's Maya Markovski. Does she have a big role to play? Miranda Templeman, the backup goalkeeper, will no doubt be hoping that she'll remain a spectator for the rest of the afternoon. Melbourne City definitely controlling the tempo at the moment, but Victory want to counter-attack. They want a bit of shock and awe here from Murphy in the pass. You can see slides off the outside of the boots.
Yeah, tired pass there from Alana Murphy. She's worked so hard in this game, and you can just tell it's an uncharacteristic error for her.
Bowen has really stepped up in extra time, the main distributor of the ball from the back for Melbourne City, and finding Briley Henry on the right flank. The crowd rise behind Henry here, sensing an opportunity for Melbourne City. It's Henry running into a 1-on-2, spinning, will she land? Shouts to the referee, pleads and looks and gestures, but ultimately no whistle, and Kayla Morrison, who made the tackle, gets the ball away.
Yeah, there was definite strong shouts there for a penalty, but no, I don't think there was much in that at all.
Oh, she trod on her foot. Let's have another look close up here. Right there, nothing in that?
I don't think so. No, no penalty.
And so play continues down to the last minute of the first 15 in extra time. There can be stoppage at the end of this half. We'll see there's a minute or two tagged on as McKenna measured it to perfection there. Chelsea Blissett ran it down. Blissett, Accardo. And Accardo down to the corner. Is going to wheel back around. Grosso, Blissett, Grosso again. All about the delivery from Grosso, hoping for Wilkinson. Bunge was there, Morrison is there. Oh, off the heels of Bunge, but Luxor fortunate, falls to Casey Dumont.
Very fortunate again, a very, very tired attempted clearance there from Morrison. These players can't wait to get to another break. They need some instruction, particularly the Victory side.
High, long clearance as the rain starts tumbling as heavily as it has all game. Melbourne Victory, they should be in the room celebrating. Melbourne City fans, well, they are playing with house money at this point. 1 minute of additional time at the end of the first 15 in extra time. Accardo, clever, able to turn into open space and plays it to Woods, but not quite to Henry. Tatham's pass was under hit. Torpy following through. Policina back to Torpy. Good first touch in the conditions. And Torpy looking to advance. Simon went in with the slide challenge, timed it well. And now Alana Murphy had that free kick in just the first minute of the game that stung the palms of Melissa Barbieri, and she's still working hard now as Grosso is able to outrun Privatelli. Privatelli back to her feet. Unlike Briley Henry, Privatelli hasn't quite had the impact off the bench that Victory would have been hoping for just yet.
She hasn't, Teo, but that could be attributed to the yellow card she got when she came on. She's got to be very careful now.
So the 1 additional minute at the end of the first half of extra time is up. There'll be a quick change of ends. And as things stand, we're heading for a penalty shootout, but there's still time enough for a moment of magic or a mistake to decide this game. Half-time in extra time. No change to the score at the end of the 90 minutes. Both keepers had to make saves, but ultimately it remains Melbourne City 3, Melbourne Victory 3. And we'll throw it down to Neve Owens at this quick change of ends. We'll wait and see how quick the coaches want it to be. Lara Lee is trying to get them to change ends quickly. Neve Owens, we'll leave it in your hands.
Thanks, Teo. We could see Holly Mack just in front of us a moment ago. She's got a good bit of blood going down that left shin. But I think, KK, ultimately that's probably good news, injury-wise, that it's not anything more serious.
Yeah, nothing too serious in that. She should be right in a few days. They're not great. I hate shin shiners, personally. But part of the game, they happen.
That was a really tough first half of extra time. It feels like this game is well and truly in the balance. Are you vibing pens here?
I've been vibing pens before kickoff. I mean, I just think it's going to go all the way. It's hard to know who's going to win. I think it's just going to come down to that mistake that's made by either team in these wet conditions. It's still raining pretty hard down here. So we'll see how it goes, but I think pens for me.
You're doing a great job with that umbrella, mate. You're absolutely nailing it. Melbourne Victory City have emptied their bench. No more changes from them, but Maya Markovsky is still here on the Victory bench. Do you reckon that's a change we'll see in the second half of extra time?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense that we'd empty our bench going into this. I mean, she's an attacking player, a 9, so I would fancy her to take a penalty, so we'll see what happens, and we need to start thinking about if it does go the whole way, but we'd also like to win this in real time, so we'll see what it looks like. We need to stop talking about we. I can't be Victory.
15 minutes, Teo, for one of these sides to win it in real time.
Thank you, Neve. Thank you, Elise. And the burning question is, will a player like Gemma Simons, sparingly available, sparingly used during the home and away season, be the sort of player that steps up now in the second half of extra time and wins this game for the defending champions without the need for a penalty shootout, which Teresa Polias is just 15 minutes away.
Incredible stuff. And Gemma Simon, you mentioned 146 games, so absolutely she can step up. She can come in and settle this game now and make an impact.
And for many of these Melbourne City players that have come off the bench, minutes have been hard to come by, but they get an extended run here. Chelsea Blissett, case in point, crossing it into the dangerous area, and Rosie Curtis is able to clear for Victory. Grosso, back to McKenna. Now Caitlin Torpey. Torpey slides it to Ocado. Briley Henry finds her time, jags out, decides against a cross. City keeping possession in a very advanced area now. Torpey. Bit of a bait and switch there as Ocado hits it to Henry. Wilkinson with a deflected shot, and Kayla Morrison was in the way, making sure that Casey Dumont didn't have a save to make, but it comes at the expense of conceding a corner. And again, marking Hannah Wilkinson. The heavier the rain, the harder the conditions, the more difficult that becomes.
Good little cross there from Briley Henry. She's cut it back to Wilkinson, and Wilkinson's taken a good shot, deflected for a corner. This is good for City.
Chelsea Blissett on corner taking duties now. The left footer sends it up towards Wilkinson. Ocado was there challenging, and after Wilkinson missed it, it was Ocado that made contact. And the ball runs out. There's the XG. Melbourne City had a penalty saved. Melbourne Victory had a penalty scored, but Melbourne City have created a lot more as part of that comeback from 3-1 down. Melbourne Victory has more or less stood still ever since hitting that 3-1 advantage. It's City who are rolling downhill here. Can they do it in a way that leads to hitting the back of the net? There's a booking here, and it's going to be a red card for Amy Jackson. The second yellow has arrived. And we've been talking about it, really, ever since the first half of this game. There's a bit of afters, but Jackson, a veteran, is going to leave the pitch, and it means that she will be suspended if Victory win through to the preliminary final.
Look, we have spoken about this pretty much all game, and going into extra time, you're tired, you've got limited subs, and Jeff made the call to take Eliadis off, so unfortunate for Victory here.
Yeah, they had both their main central midfielders on a yellow card. Eliadis was the one preserved. Jackson comes off. You see there the afters with Policina. And, well, you think back to the full-blooded challenge earlier in the game, and you'd have to say that Amy Jackson cumulatively has earned that second yellow.
She has. You can't argue this one, Teo. She's trod on her late, and I think she knew it. I think the hands went to the head, and she knew that red was coming out.
And so will it mean 12 minutes of non-stop defending for Melbourne Victory, now down to 10 players? Here's the resulting free kick. McKenna. Wilkinson's up. They break even in the air. Torpy with a volley, but it was tailing off target. And now there's more afters here. I mean, the stakes are high enough. I mean, throwing in the derby element is just almost overkill. The chance to keep your season going is enough for these two teams to be putting everything on the line.
Here's that ball in, and a bit of fair contact there, and Caitlin Torpy seems to have copped it late there and dropped, but didn't look too malicious. But you're right, Teo, you know, a derby in the regular season is stressful enough in my experience, let alone as a semi-final where everything's on the line.
Privatelli brought to ground by Bowen, who herself is on a yellow. Are we getting the square up? No, Lara Lee's not reaching for the pocket, and Bowen would be best to leave the scene given her yellow card was for dissent in the second half.
I'd be grabbing her and telling her to just move. Let it go. You've been let off, because we've seen time and time again that referees tend to like to square things up, as you said, Teo.
Well, that's why you were a captain for so much of your career. It's all about that game sense, isn't it?
And just looking at that challenge, she is very lucky to still be on the pitch.
Victory's turn, a set piece of their own. Claudia Bunge, Kayla Morrison, the likely targets here, but the ball didn't have the elevation, and there's a free kick for a bit of push and shove behind play regardless. And now that they are down to 10, Melbourne Victory, they've still got 10 minutes of this game. Do they play for penalties from here, or do they at least try to hit on the counter again, or look for set pieces as a way to score a fourth goal and win the game?
Look, obviously no one wants to get to penalties, but Melbourne Victory are already sort of behind the 8 ball. They have been defending wave after wave of Melbourne City, so if they can hold out, I know they'll be backing Casey Dumont in a shootout.
Katie Bowen takes the ball into the attacking half, directing traffic with the ball at her feet. Bowen, decision time. Policina surrounded by Victory opponents. The ball spills to Murphy. Nash, or too hot to handle for Privatelli. City throw coming up. Policina trying to roll Murphy, but can't do so. Ayres back helping out. It's been a peripheral figure as the game has gone on. Melina Ayres, we see how heavily bandaged that right leg around the knee is. She's had hamstring injuries galore to deal with in the last 2 seasons. But they want her on the pitch for a potential penalty, you'd have to suspect. If it gets that far. City, they want to win it. Policina brought to ground by Murphy. And it looks like that might be just a little twinge of cramp for Alana Murphy.
Definitely at this point in the match. I'm surprised we haven't seen more cramp set in from players, but here's that challenge. And Policina, yeah, definitely pulled her down. Smart play by Alana Murphy there. She drew that foul. She knows her team's under the pump here, so a bit of time wasting now for the Victory.
Bunge taking the restart from very deep. Flick header on by Privatelli, only as far as Grosso. It's been an incredible display of persistence from Grosso. Still full of running, full of sprinting. McKenna. Now Policina. Back to McKenna. Blissett's there. And blocked into her by Jess Nash. Good heads-up defending. And it didn't quite unfold the way City would have hoped.
It didn't, but it was so close there. City are trying to take advantage of the fact that they're a player up. Lovely play here from Policina and McKenna. She just couldn't get that shot away.
Chittima. Now Torpy. Henry looks up at a very busy penalty area. Can they unpick the lock? Henry drops the shoulder, and Casey Dumont bats it down to take the sting out of the cross, and then holds it at the second time of asking. And this clock will be moving agonisingly slowly for Melbourne Victory at the moment. McKenna. Blissett has made a real impact off the bench. Would have been so disappointed about being culpable for Vesna Milivojevic's equaliser for Canberra 2 weeks ago. Seems like a distant memory now. Here's Grosso. Policina turns away from the penalty area. Back to Torpy. Henry. Wilkinson tried to turn, and Kayla Morrison, stuck to her like glue, puts it behind for a corner kick.
City are fancying their chances in the dying minutes here. They've got pretty much all the possession.
And no time for superstitions. They're going to make a substitution while defending a corner kick. Maya Markovski is coming on for Nat Tatham. So it's a defender off for a centre forward. That's probably going to prompt another reshuffle of positions en masse here. And they're bringing on Markovski to defend the corner kick. Here it comes from Chelsea Blissett. A high looper. And headed away by Ayres. Here's Policina on the turn. And Casey Dumont had a clean look at the ball.
And perhaps there's your answer, Teo, in regards to whether they're playing to get to penalties. Maya Markovski, the penalty specialist. Here's the shot from Policina, but tired legs at the moment. She couldn't get much on that.
Here's Ayres. A rare chance for Victory to attack. Leah Privatelli played into space. Grosso trying to hustle back. Privatelli, is this Victory's moment to hit on the counter? Grosso puts it behind, and Privatelli is sore, but it's come at her team's advantage here. And I'm sure however sore she feels about the ankle, she'll be happy that she was able to win a corner kick.
Yeah, strong challenge there from Grosso. She looks as fresh as she did at the start of the game. It's incredible, but definitely worth the pain there for Privatelli.
I mean, safe to say, when Melbourne City signed Julia Grosso, there were guffaws about the Canadian Juventus player. Are you sure you know who you've signed? But I think on the evidence of today, yes, they absolutely did. She's been heroic today, but there's defending to do. Simon's corner. Policina heads it off the near post. Henry up for the header. Able to win it away from Bunge, but Alana Murphy is first to respond. Murphy bends a ball in, but there's no one there. And Melissa Barbieri, inexplicably, concedes a corner kick.
I think there was a deflection just before Barbieri went to try and keep that in.
Well, it surely wouldn't have been a back pass then, but anyway, as we know, as we've flagged, decision-making gets really strained in these high-pressure moments.
It doesn't, and everyone's just so tired out there at the moment.
Melbourne Victory won a grand final with an Olympico goal from a corner kick. Is Alana Murphy the player that can write her name into Victory folklore here?
Don't remind me, Teo.
Here comes Murphy's corner. It's high to the near post, and Barbieri rises above and clasps on. And now City want an end-to-end counter. A long throw. Blissett can't get there. It's bouncing on though. Policina against Bunge. Blissett. Oh, and you can tell she's frustrated. Throws her head back in frustration that she couldn't keep the ball in play.
Yeah, she was well released there from Barbieri, who took that corner beautifully, and regardless of whether it went in, it would have been a foul on her because there was definite contact on her there from Privatelli.
Huge goalkeeping from Barbieri there to rise above that pack of players. Melbourne Victory have got a second wind well and truly now. Really attacking for the first time we've seen in the 30 minutes of extra time. That might open some gaps though. McKenna wins the 50-50 against Murphy. Blissett driving it long. Bunge up for the header. Gemma Simon only as far as Bowen. A goal now, surely wins it. Chelsea Blissett has never scored in the Liberty A-League. Chelsea Blissett is denied by Bunge. Coming across with a big block tackle and a series of ricochets that takes it out for a goal kick.
Great run there from Chelsea Blissett. We're not used to seeing her so high up the pitch, but she's taken some inspiration from Holly McNamara here, it seems, and equally fantastic defending from Claudia Bunge.
It's been exactly what City have needed to keep testing this Victory defence and keep the pressure on. But Victory are still showing signs of life with 2 additional minutes to go. Naomi Chinema. You wouldn't know that Victory are down to 10 players. It's largely been the same pattern as when it was 10 versus 11. However, it's cocked up by Bunge here. Nash comes across. Wilkinson. And it ends up in the gloves of Dumont, but not before some really harem-scarum defending.
Really fortunate there for Victory. Hannah Wilkinson, she's fresh and she'll pounce on to any loose ball, but Policina still running and creating chances here for City.
Jeff Hopkins. This is going to, if there were any years to give, taken years off his life. We said that at the end of the home and away season. There's not many left to play with. Here's Grosso now. Last minute of the 30. Still sprinting Julia Grosso, but Privatelli is right there, keeping her corralled. And now Blissett hooks it back. Policina can cap it. No, denied. Here's McKenna. Great save. Dumont at full stretch. And McKenna nearly won it for Melbourne City.
Great strike there from McKenna, and Casey Dumont steps up again for her team. She's probably ready for the shootout. And it would have been a foul there, but the refs let it play on, and McKenna got the shot away.
And this angle will tell us just how much Casey Dumont had to move to keep that out of the bottom corner. Accardo. One last final thrust for Melbourne City. Briley Henry blocked. Kayla Morrison, exactly who Victory would want on the ball. The pass, Koff's possession up though. Accardo. Torby. Policina on the turn. Dumont again. Behind for a corner it goes, and Rihanna Policina has foiled a hat-trick and a Melbourne City winner.
This is nail-biting stuff. Casey Dumont steps up once again. It's a loose ball from Victory. And Torpy plays it into Policina. Nifty little turn and shot there.
I mean, that angle shows just how much space Policina had to pick her mark, and what a good save that was.
They're just so tired, the Victory defenders at the moment.
Can they hold on? Almost 1 of 2 additional minutes. Dumont's out and is able to claim it away from Wilkinson. Casey Dumont's work might just be about to get started if we go to a penalty shootout here. Playing for the Queensland Roar. That's how long ago some of it was. Casey Dumont's penalty shootout heroics. Looked like a handball by Accardo, and maybe Victory can just bomb it forward one last time, and you never know your luck.
As we saw with City at the end, the very end of regular time.
How long have we got is Jeb Hopkins' question to Isabella Blais, and the answer will be 30 seconds of the allocated 2 minutes. The ball's not coming. Victory players committed forward. They want a long ball to go and chase. It's just going to be straight down to Barbieri. A goal now either way will win it and put that team into the preliminary final against the loser of Sydney FC versus Western United tomorrow. Henry knocked over. Play continues. Torpy. Bowen. As the additional 2 minutes expires, referee's not reaching for the whistle just yet. But as that pass runs long, Jessica Nash will see it out. And for the first time since January 2016, A Liberty A-League game will need a penalty shootout to be decided. For the first time in 7 years, we're going to spot kicks to find a winner. An incredible 120 minutes plus stoppage time. Still can't find a winner. Off to penalties we go, because it's Melbourne City 3, Melbourne Victory 3. Teresa Polias, wow, what a game.
What a game, all right. My palms are sweating. My heart's beating out of my chest here. It almost feels like I'm out there in a way, but tired legs now. And in a shootout, you just need to get as much energy into you at the moment. You can see the players taking in a bit of sugar here to try and be ready for this shootout.
In 2008, Casey Dumont saved a penalty from Sarah Walsh, and then Carla Reuter stepped up to win it for Brisbane Roar. That was the first ever penalty shootout. In 2011, Casey Dumont saved from Elise Perry and then stepped up herself to score the match-winning penalty. Those are the two times that Casey Dumont has gone to a penalty shootout, both times wearing the orange of the Roar. Neve Owens is on the sidelines. Neve, you've had 2 incredible hours of fun, and it's not done yet.
Here alongside another player, Teo, who has worn the orange of the Roar in the past and who has been talking up Casey Dumont's penalty-taking abilities throughout that second stanza. KK, what a game we have on our hands. 3-3 at full time. We can see the physios doing their job on the players over there, getting them ready for this shootout. What will the message be within both of those teams?
Usually it's about calming everyone. I think taking penalties is a different dynamic to playing a football match. It's one moment, so you need to really have the right mental approach. So I think at this moment it's really about calming everyone's nerves, and it's not necessarily physically repairing the legs, it's just about getting the mind right.
Well, in terms of the mind, Casey Dumont was immense in that second stanza of extra time. How much confidence will she take into the shootout after pulling off a penalty save in regulation time and a number of huge saves?
Yeah, she's been doing this all season for us. I always say she saves 3 goals a game for us, so I think her ability to just keep us in games has been really important. And you can see, like, from these chances that we're watching as we wind back through the game, that Casey's just had such a massive impact. I think the highlight was, of course, the penalty save, but you can see how her positioning is really important throughout all the chances.
She's such a big human as well, isn't she? So she has that physical presence as well when you see her in goal, which I imagine as a penalty taker would be intimidating as you step up to the spot.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you walk up to the spot and you see someone taking up a large portion of the goal, it's a massive advantage, but she's also really good at reading the play, so she's able to actually determine where the penalty taker is going, and I think that's one of her gifts. Well,
she pulled off a great save early in this game, but it was Melbourne City who opened the scoring. What feels like a lifetime ago, KK. Rihanna Policina with a brace today and the opening goal in this contest.
Yeah, as we watch the goals again, I think you can see that City had the upper hand towards the start of the game and through the midway, and this is a great goal and a great setup by McNamara. She had a really strong impact on the first half, and Policina, that was really her goal, where she pinched the ball and then followed her run and was able to put it away. And then the tides turned a little bit, I think, as you see with the penalty. I actually didn't see it live. I was out doing some background research on halftime talk, but controversial call perhaps, but then Mel calm as anything on the spot, and she's been our penalty taker all season, and she slotted it home really calmly. You can see Bubs tried to predict which way and went pretty early, and Mel just put it the opposite side. And then you can see Mel was just bagging goals. She was here to score, so give her half a yard and she's going to put it away. She's got a dynamic right foot and great strike and a great finish.
It felt like it sparked her, confidence-wise. Those opening penalty felt like it brought the hat-trick that followed.
Yeah, you just give her half a sniff at goal, and as you can see with her third, just lurking at the back post, and the ball fortunately fell to her and she was able to put it away. And then the tides turned a little bit and City started to get momentum, and you can see here that they've capitalised and come back into the game, and that's a great finish. And the end of the game got a little bit messy, and as City put players forward, there's a lot of pressure that was put on Victory, and unfortunately for us, conceded in the last few seconds. Sorry.
So it finished 3-3 at the end of a huge number of minutes here at Casey Fields. Teo, Melbourne Victory have won the coin toss. They've been working hard on penalties in the last couple of weeks in training. We've got a shootout to come.
Thank you, Neve. Thank you, Elise. And look at that, the two goalkeepers, Melissa Barbieri and Casey Dumont, a couple of originals. They've been there and done it all before. I mentioned Casey Dumont's personal record. Melbourne Victory, 1 penalty shootout win. That got them through to the grand final in 2013 against the Perth Glory. Bree Davey was their goalkeeper on that occasion. They also lost that penalty shootout we mentioned to Canberra in 2014. Melbourne City, the one and only time their women's team went to penalties was in 2015-16. And again, Bree Davey was the goalkeeper, but it was Lisa Devanna that sent them to the grand final. Now, I did flag that Casey Dumont has scored the winning penalty in a penalty shootout all the way back in 2011. And now in 2023, Dumont is going to shoot first for Melbourne Victory. It's keeper versus keeper. What a way to start the shootout. Casey Dumont for Victory to get the shootout started. Makes it 1-0. And Melbourne Victory converts on their first spot kick.
Really good measured finish there from Casey Dumont. We've seen her time and time again blast them into the back of the net, but she's opted for the placement today. Great finish.
She is in the zone here. A little smile now. That's maybe what Melbourne City will be hoping for, to break the concentration, because that was a clinical penalty.
Very clinical, and on the whole, I think Casey Dumont's had more saves to make today. So will she be too fatigued to last this shootout? We'll see.
Katie Bowen has not scored a goal for Melbourne City, but now is charged with the responsibility of the first penalty kick. The Kiwi international, Bowen, a picture of concentration. But Dumont makes the save, and there was a bit of backspin, but Dumont makes sure that it does not go in. And after one kick each, it's Melbourne Victory with a 1-0 lead.
Here's the shot from Bowen. Well read by Casey Dumont. You could see before the kick, she was really confident. Did she step over the line before the kick?
But what about the backspin too? If she doesn't reach out and touch it there, it probably still goes in.
True that.
So Bowen, after asking, did Dumont encroach? A moot point. And now up steps Ayres, who scored a penalty as the first in her hat-trick today. And Melissa Barbieri knows that there needs to be a save now or a miss. And Melina Ayres pats down the penalty spot. It was taken to this end. You can see how heavily bandaged that right knee is, in a brace effectively. Hasn't stopped Ayres today, lasting the full 120 in stoppage. And now marks out a run-up to consolidate Victory's advantage. Ayres scores! And you heard it hit the net, and she looks to the heavens. It'll mean a lot to Melina Ayres. Victory lead in the shootout 2-0.
Another great finish, and Barbieri goes the right way here, but Ayres had enough on that. It's a good, well-taken penalty.
And this is where shooting first becomes such an advantage, because it heaps the pressure onto the next taker for Melbourne City. Rihanna Policina, 2 goals of her own during the game. City have had their issues with penalty takers this year. You think back to Hilary Beale of Western United saving from Policina earlier in the campaign. Has Dumont done the homework? Will Policina mix it up? And that one had the goalkeeper flat-footed and out of the equation. Policina puts Melbourne City on the board, but they trail 1-2 after 2 kicks each.
Fantastic penalty from Policina. Resolute there, steps up again for her team.
And even if Dumont hadn't guessed the wrong way, that would have just about been unsavable. Beautiful technique. Now we flagged this, the last of the outfield players to enter the game, the penalty-taking specialist, Maya Markovski. Chloe Lincoln owns a penalty save against Markovski. No other goalkeeper does. It's Markovski. Does the job she was brought on to do, and you can see what it means.
She's done her job. She was subbed on for fresh legs, first and foremost, and if Victory got to this point, this is what she was meant to do, and she's done it really well. Too close to that post. Unsavable.
Markovski, who was coached as a junior by Melissa Barbieri, able to put a goal past one of her mentors. And now Hannah Wilkinson, the most capped international on the pitch. Off the woodwork! And Melbourne Victory are on the precipice of going through as Wilkinson misses, and it's 3-1 after 3 kicks each.
Such a high pressure situation. Dumont went the right way anyhow, so there was a high chance of her saving that nonetheless, but unfortunate there for Hannah Wilkinson.
Alana Murphy is still only 17 years old. She turns 18 on Friday. This would be the ultimate early birthday present, because if Alana Murphy scores, Melbourne Victory keep their title defence going for another week. Melissa Barbieri bounces around on the line. Murphy to win it! The title defence continues for Melbourne Victory! And one of the great Liberty A-League finals ends with Melbourne Victory prevailing on penalty kicks.
What a memorable final we've had, and I find it so incredible. A youngster, 17 years old, steps up, takes the winning penalty for her team.
Scenes of joy for Melbourne Victory. Melbourne City, they know that they'll own one of the heroic comebacks. It's fallen short. Just the third time in the league's history that a team came from 2 goals down in a final. But the efforts of Policina and McNamara and this Melbourne City side fall short in the most agonising possible way. And Melbourne Victory, even the squad members, even the players that weren't on the bench, they're out there celebrating as one club, because in finals, they just get it done.
They do. They've done it time and time again, and it's become their thing.
And so that is the final equation. After a 3-3 draw, Melbourne Victory win 4-1 on penalty kicks. Teresa Polias, they'll be waiting for the defeated team of tomorrow's game between Sydney FC and Western United.
What a wait that is. They'll enjoy the game now. They've gotten over this huge hurdle, but I must, give props to City. They came from behind twice, came from 2 goals down in what was an absolutely stunning semi-final. They should hold their heads up high.
And so, a game where both teams pushed their players into the red, reached deep into their benches, played every card they had in the deck, and ultimately entertained and thrilled us in a way only the Liberty A-League can, quite simply. The Chaos League has done it again, a first penalty shootout in 7 years. And I tell you what, Sydney FC and Western United have got one heck of a bar to clear when they play tomorrow, 5:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. You wouldn't miss it for the world. All right, let's throw down to Neve Owens, who's in the aftermath with the post-match reaction.
Teo, one player who played a huge hand in that result for Melbourne Victory today is Melina Ayres. 4 goals, not bad, my friend. How does that feel?
Pretty good. It's such a tough game. City just such a good team, and we just scraped into finals, so we once we're here, we knew we could win. But yeah, you can hear what it means to everyone. We've worked so hard all year. We've had ups and downs, and yeah, that's worth it just for that.
A hat-trick for you, and then you stepped up and took a penalty as well. How much confidence will this team take into next week?
So much. We've had so much just heartbreak, like the last game in Wellington, and then even today. So to pull through today and the grit we put in is, huge for next week.
I'm going to let you join that victory song, Melina Ayres. Congratulations. Time for a very quick break here on 10 Play and Paramount Plus. It is Melbourne Victory celebrating a win in the elimination final, 4-1 over Melbourne City on penalties.